Hello and welcome again, dear teachers, friends, all our members from the ACAD-Asia community of educators. I am Roy Platon. I am the co-founder and chief community officer of ACAD-Asia. We are impact-driven edtech business based out of Singapore, and we are here to empower educators everywhere. We're so excited to have you all today because this session is quite unique for us because this will be our first Saturday school session. All right, Saturday school is our special masterclass that we offer to all our teachers in the community so that they can further upskill more intensely their pedagogy and technology skills. And we're very happy to have you all here today. I'm just going to do a few shout outs to all our friends from all over the world, all those who registered. We have friends from Cambodia, from the Philippines, from Tunisia, Virgin Islands in the US. We have Tangum City in the Philippines, Caloocan City in the Philippines. This is fantastic. Really have a global audience with us today. Of course, our friends from Indonesia, Malaysia, Thailand, Singapore. Hello to all of you. Really super excited. And of course, our friends in India as well. So this is a really cool session because, over the next 3 hours, we'll be learning a lot about project-based learning, PBL. And our guests today are experts at this, and we're very happy to have them to share their expertise on this subject matter. So again, this is really crucial because as this entire month of November, we have been focusing on project-based learning. So if you have not seen our other webinars, so Webinar Wednesday, Technology Tuesdays, and of course our ACAD-Asia Teacher Spaces Thursdays, you can rewatch all of those by going to acadasia.com, clicking on the courses. We have recordings of the sessions there, and you can go back and watch them. Special bonus for our friends in the Philippines, our educators. Those courses for those this month are accredited with professional development points, CPD points, with the PRC in the Philippines. So if you have not done those courses, please try to complete those and you'll be credited with points for that. Okay, but make sure you submit by the deadline. Make a request to support the ACAD-Asia if you want to catch up for those. Okay, so without further ado, we have an interesting and long session for today. I just want to be able to introduce our speakers who'll be handling our project-based learning training session for today. So first is, she's a teacher working in the HR domain, and she has had a lot of experience in the different dimensions of HR, from generalist to training, recruitment, employee engagement. And she's proud to say that this is basically her second career, education and training. And she upskills herself in EdTech. She has a passion for learning and development, curriculum design, syllabus design. And each day, as her role as the India head for academic coordinating, as academic coordinator, she's very excited. And she's a lifelong learner, and that's a skill that all us educators are striving for. So I'll first introduce our guest speaker for today, Ms. Gunjan Panjaya. Gunjan, hello, welcome.
Hello, thank you so much, Roy. That was a very good introduction. And so, good morning to people around the world. We are so excited to talk to you, interact with you today.
Thank you, Gunjan. And she's instructional designer and product manager at Orange Slates. And I'll introduce our next speaker who can maybe also introduce Orange Slates to us a little bit more. She's the co-founder and head of product at Orange Slates. And Orange Slate's vision is to prepare educators for the future. And they do this by bringing together educators across the globe. And we're very happy to have them as a partner for this session on ACAD-Asia. And we're here to form a global community to learn from each other the various skills, pedagogies, and strategies to maximize learning outcomes. So I'm very excited to introduce the co-founder of Orange Slates, Vishali Seth. Vishali, hello, welcome.
Hello, good morning, good afternoon, wherever you are. Great wishes to you, and thank you so much, Roy, for being here, for making us be here, and thank you so much. We are really excited about this partnership, and this is the first session together, so really excited for this.
Fantastic, great to have you, Vishali. All right. So without further ado, I'll just be here in the background and we'll have our support team here at ACAD-Asia. Ethan will be in the background as well, supporting you on this stream. And happy upskilling our dear educators. Thank you. See you in a bit.
Right. Yeah, thank you so much, Roy. And once again, wishes to all of you. And Roshali and Gunjan are here today, and we are going to have a 3-hour awesome learning experience together. We are going to talk about project-based learning. So just a few disclaimer that we would like to give you before we start the session. This is going to be an interactive session on YouTube, LinkedIn, Facebook, whichever channel you're using. This is going to be interactive. We are going to ask a lot of questions. So we expect answers from you on the comments we'll be looking at, me and Gunjan. And of course, we have people at backend who will be monitoring the comments. If you have questions, you can put it. We'll take up in between and towards the end. There are Mentimeters. So we are going to share some mentees in between. So there are 2 or 3 mentees that we're going to do in between. So please participate in it so that it's cool and we'll get a lot of insights for the same. Gunjan, anything from you?
That's it. Thank you for coming and do participate. We look forward to a lot of comments from you. Thank you.
All right, great. So what I'll do is I'll start by sharing my screen. Let me know, Gunjan, once you're able to see my screen.
Yeah, we can see it now.
You can see it now. Perfect. Okay, so today, project-based learning. If you already know us, you know our introduction. So I'm co-founder of Orange Slates. Gunjan is heading projects in Orange Slates, and Orange Slates, just a sentence that we believe in, is making educators future ready. And it's great being a partner of Acadesia because we are able to make educators across the globe future ready with this. So we are really happy for this partnership. This is today's flow. We'll have it in 2 parts, before the break and after the break. We are going to give you break. Don't worry in between. We'll know together what is PBL. There are some preconceived notions about PBL, about if this project is PBL or is it an activity. So we'll figure that out, what PBL means and what it does not mean. Gunjan, you want to do the second part?
Yes, so as we go along, we will see, what are some prerequisites of PBL for students, for teachers, how do we do it, and we actually look forward to show you how we execute it rather than giving the theory of it. Yeah, we will obviously have some discussions on how do we go about it.
All right.
Yeah.
So with this, before we get into the mentee, what we are going to do is I'm going to talk about one scenario, and Gunjan is going to talk about another scenario. Okay, and then so you can make notes of what we are talking. Then we are going to ask you which is project-based learning. Okay, so I'll start with my scenario, Gunjan.
Sure.
Perfect. So there is a teacher who is teaching grade 9. Okay, and he decided to do grade 9 chapter of nutrition or through balanced diet using project-based learning. He divided the class into smaller groups and gave them topic and asked them to find issues in the world, taking the topic into consideration. So nutrition using balanced diet is the topic. So the groups will be checking out the problems in the world for that topic. He gave them learning objectives. He gave them research areas. He also gave them reference links of where students can look out. He also gave a report structure. He included the science teachers, the English teachers, and he also included doctors in the community, so that doctors will be able to help the students as well. Students did a lot of research on how to maintain health, how animals in natural habitat maintain their nutrition and health. Then they had to present whatever the research they did, all the groups, they had to present it to the school administration. And this entire journey took 6 months. Okay, so this is a scenario. Now Gunjan is going to say a scenario. Okay, Gunjan, over to you.
Yeah, so again, there was a teacher, Mr. Y, we can call him whatever. He also wanted to give projects to his students. So what he did, he in the beginning of the session, before the session starts for the school session, he gave them the project again, nutrition balanced diet. He gave them that project, and he gave them detailed instructions as to what are the learning outcomes, what his expectations are, and what the report should be. In detail, he gave them at the beginning of the session with a due date. Now that due date was after 6 months, so they had 6 months time to prepare. He also gave them a report structure. So in the report structure, he wanted learning outcomes, then he wanted students outcomes, and what are their action plans, a conclusion, a bibliography, a great detailed report structure he gave them. And obviously, after 6 months, the students submitted their reports individually to him, and some of them really excelled. So do you think this is also project based learning?
So what I request, Ethan, can you please share the Menti link in the group? And also, I'll also share my screen, and there is a QR code. If you're comfortable, you can scan your QR code as well. Which case do you think is project-based learning?
So you can
The one
also
that I say?
type on the chat if you want. If you're not comfortable with Menti, we are completely okay with it.
Okay,
So
there
we
are people
get
who are
an
saying both
answer
are
from Amy
project-based learning.
saying both are project-based learning. So
Yes,
people
there is a
who've just
Menti link. Sorry.
yeah. So people who've just arrived, let us just tell you the scenarios again. So my scenario was that a teacher has given a project on nutrition to his students. He gave them 6 months to do it. He gave them a deadline, gave them a detailed report, and they submitted the project individually.
And my
Rushali's
scenario
project,
is, yeah, so my scenario is that the professor divided children into groups, gave them learning outcomes, gave them goals, gave them the format for research, also included the science teachers, math teacher, and also included the community doctor to support the learning. So yeah, these are the two cases. Yeah, so Priyanka, if you say first one, is it Rushali's case or I'm Rushali? I am my partner Gunjan. So I have the link is already shared in the chat and it is getting shared again. So which one is PBL? You can poll it as well on Mentimeter. We are already getting polls. And around 17% thinks that my case is project-based learning. There are
so a lot
4%
of
people
people think
saying
both are project-based learning.
yes, yes. Okay, so I hope you've taken your notes. Keep it with you. Now, what we are going to do is we are going to take a journey of what project-based learning is, what it means, what is the flow. We'll come back to this question again in the end. All right, and let's see if you have the same answer, if you really think mine is project-based or is Gunjan's project-based or both are project-based. Let's do discovery mode. All right, we'll put our discovery cameras on and let's begin learning of what is project-based learning. Thank you so much for your responses. Ankita, I think project based is where they apply their own thinking, a scenario given and student needs to come up with their own solution. Thank you, Ankita. Thank you so much for explaining this. Let's take this journey. Let's understand what is project based and let's understand what is not project based. All right. And then we'll discover which one is project based among the cases that we have taken. All right, Gunjan, let's move ahead.
Yeah. So, what project based learning is, obviously, we all know it is breaking subject silos. We are trying to integrate subject skills, 21st century skills in project based learning. Again, it is not a product, it is a process. The process is important. The report or the presentation or the outcomes, yes, they are important, but the process is where which makes them learn more, right? Obviously it has different stages. We'll take you through in ahead slides. what kind of different stages are there in the project-based learning. It makes learning fun and interesting. It wants students to, engage in more learning. We can do assessments at all stages in project-based learning. So, formative assessments are there, throughout the process. Um, in the end, you do it, not important. Again, obviously, we are wearing our thinking caps on, and we make our students think.
So, what project based learning is not? It is not an individual project, right? It is not something that you give a child, okay, fine, why don't you create a report on this topic? This is not project based learning. It is not a standalone project that, okay, fine, students, this is a project that you have to do for maths, or this is a project that you have to do for science. This is not project based learning. That is an activity or a project that you give to students, but it is not project based learning. All right. It is not only for high scorers. No, it is for everybody. In fact, we want all students to be part of it. Every student will have a role to play in project based learning. It is not an art activity where students in the end make beautiful, colorful charts or create an object, beautiful object. That's not project based learning. It's an activity or it's a part of project based learning. Like Kunjan said, it's a process, it's a journey, it's not a product, right? It doesn't happen in a day or a week. It is a long term project, right? At least takes 3 to 4 months to take that journey, which we are going to see in a bit. It is not based on any language. It can be for any language, is a part of expression. Language is used to express. You can have multiple, it can be a multilingual project, multidisciplinary project that you do in project based learning, right? And as a teacher, we should not give direct answers, direct links. Okay, students, why don't you go to page number 45 for instruction of this particular manual? No, right? We cannot do that. So that is not project based learning at all, right? Any
So
questions so far?
I think I have a quick questions for all of you. So do
Right.
you think the involvement of teacher in project-based learning is one time or it is continuous? I know it's very simple question. Yes and no. Right? Can we have some chats? So
Yeah, so the question I'll
involvement of
repeat again.
teacher. Yeah.
Involvement
So
of teacher, is it one time or continuous? You can, in the answer, you can put either one time or you can put continuous. Quickly, you get 10 seconds.
yes, so we get
Continuous.
continuous
Exactly,
from
exactly.
DJ.
So
Yeah.
perfect. You all are with us. It's continuous. It's not a one-time thing that I gave my instruction. Now you have 6 months. Do your project. Not possible. There has to be regular interventions in between, but we are not giving direct answers. So as a teacher, I'm not giving direct answer to you, but I am there for you. I'm looking at what you're doing. I can help you. I can scaffold you when required. Is it considered assignment? Assignment is a part of project-based learning. Okay, it is not, one assignment cannot be a project. Assignment is a part of project-based learning that as a teacher we can give to students. Okay, perfect. So everybody agrees with us that teacher's role is continuous, Gunjan. So we are good.
You're good.
So this is the definition of project-based learning. You can go through it. I'll also read it for you. It is a teaching methodology where students gain knowledge and skills. They investigate and respond to complex questions, problems, and challenges. Build valuable proficiencies such as problem solving, critical thinking, collaboration, community, and creativity. Communication and creativity.
So you see, all those are 21st century skills we keep talking about. And this is coming naturally with project-based learning. So you don't have to think about how do I, build creativity? How do I build communication? The beauty of project-based learning is that these skills are coming naturally to students and they get honed, as they keep doing projects.
Right. So you might also think that, oh my God, so many things to do for child. How will they able to do it? They will be able to do it. You have to give them some time. So maybe initially your involvement will be more, and then they'll become independent learners. But you have to keep on pushing their boundaries and pushing them towards becoming an independent learner. Okay, let's move ahead. Okay, Ginny, minimum number of days. See, there are no minimum number of days, but depending on the project, so it can be 2 months, it can be 3 months, it can be 25 days also. So it depends on the kind of project that we are doing. Okay.
So there are people who teach. If you've heard, there's course called global learning. So people teach the whole course through project based learning. So that is also possible. Or you can just teach a topic through project based learning. Again, the idea is what suits. You have to decide the subject and kind of decide what suits that subject.
Right. So Mayur, how do you do design? We'll be talking about how we can go about, and I hope that will answer your question. Okay,
So in
so
the
let's
end,
move
we'll take
ahead
all these questions.
about the planning part.
The planning part, yeah.
Okay. So what is project-based learning? We saw the definition, which was very technical and wordy. Basically, project-based learning, the first and the foremost important thing in project-based learning is it ignites curiosity, because we are not giving direct answers. We are doing research on real life problems, and we are talking with multiple people, multiple stakeholders for that particular problem. Like, for example, nutrition, right? So nutrition and diet, we are talking with the doctor, we are talking with actually maths person who knows how to calculate. We are talking with English people, we are talking with people who are facing nutrition issues, or we're talking with other students to understand what they eat, what they don't eat, are they eating balanced diet. So it also ignites curiosity and in turn create connections. You are connecting whatever you're learning with real life, right? And you're collaborating with multiple people together. So you start working as a team in your group, and you're also working outside your team. You're collaborating with other people of other areas as well. So you are igniting curiosity, creating connections, and you're collaborating with people. Gunjan, you want to take the skill?
Yeah. So I will take create connections. So create connections here is very, very important. So generally, when we start a lesson, we ask your pre-check. For example, here we told a scenario and asked you to decide, which one is problem-based learning, are both problem-based learning, things like that. We told you. So similarly, project-based learning creates lot of pre-connections of what they already know, what the new knowledge is, and maybe something which they want to discover more, which they didn't even know about it. So that is kind of connections we want to create. We want to use that schema to create connections through collaboration, through developing 21st century skills. We can also go ahead and give them the same project. We can ask them to make it a community project. For example, the nutrition project. How would you in your school community raise awareness of nutrition in students, because it is becoming a major problem in most countries, right? So you can make it a community problem and try them to make them solve those problems. um, then you can do a holistic evaluation through not only seeing what they are doing. Generally we have those rubrics, yes, but you can give a lot of qualitative feedback to them, right? And they can give peers feedback to each other. So much can be done with project based learning. Let
Right.
us take reflection, which is one of the most important points in project based learning. The I most of you have heard of the 5E approach, right? So the 5E approach, also the crux of the 5E approach is evaluation and reflection. So they keep reflecting on what they have done, they keep improving it, and then they write a detailed reflection on how they went about the project, what they learned, and how could they be a little better if required. Rushali, want to take something from here?
Yes. So, just to add to reflection, there are two kinds of reflection that we are talking about here. All right. It is reflection of the students on the process that they followed and their learning. It is also reflection as a teacher, that the instruction that I gave to students, is it working for them? The kind of project that is given to them. So what is the flow that they are having? What are the kind of people that I made the students interact with, or students interacted with? As my role as a teacher, was I able to work on it, and did I make them reach the goal? Because in project based learning, there is always a bigger goal. So did I make the students reach the goal in a manner that I wanted them to go, or was in a correct manner? So as a reflection for the students, reflection for the teacher. Next, scaffolding. I like to spend some time in scaffolding. So what do you understand from the term scaffolding? If you can put it in the chat. So the question is, what do you understand from the term scaffolding and whatever we spoke about here in project-based learning?
We can also start with, what do you understand by the word scaffolding?
Yeah, what do you understand from the word scaffolding? And yeah, so in the meanwhile, while you're explaining scaffolding, I just want want you to hear holistic evaluation. Like Gunjan also already said, holistic is evaluation, not only teacher evaluating the student, not only that way, but student evaluating himself or herself, the peers evaluating each other. Peer evaluation is very, very important here. Your role in a team that will be evaluated, the parents getting involved in the evaluation process. You can also involve the school president, or you can also involve the community leader, because if it's a community project, then we can also involve the community leader here. Right now we go back to scaffolding.
Yeah, we have some answers saying,
Yes.
step by step, making student understand step by step. Scaffolding, Summer says, is also called scaffold or staging. It's a temporary structure, yeah, that we do outside the building. Yes.
Right. So for those, just to repeat to what he's saying, when there is a building construction happening, they create scaffolds outside so that the people who are working can use that structure and go on top of the building, and it acts as a support system for the building, right? So the role of teacher here is becoming a support system. But when a teacher becomes a support system, doesn't mean that there is a step by step guidance given by the teacher. No, it means that the teacher is there to support whenever required, and there is a continuous monitoring that is happening, okay, using rubrics and other tools that we are going to share with you in some time. So support, yeah, so scaffold is becoming a support system, becoming an observer, becoming a mentor, a facilitator.
So,
Okay, does that?
yeah, so
Yeah.
scaffolding also has lot of stages. So initially, maybe you have to model. You have to actually tell them what they have to clearly do. And once they become more independent, and obviously a teacher can take a step back. How we remove the scaffolds out of the building when it is constructed, we take our support back, but we keep looking at it.
Right. So it is generally that Gunjan said modeling. So it is first I do, as a teacher, I do it, then we do it together. So students and teacher do it together, and then you do it. So like you say, pushing the students towards the mastery is scaffolding. And thank you so much for all your responses. We're going through it slowly. Okay, so if a child goes through all this, and if a teacher and students and group goes through all this process together, then project based learning will be organically very authentic, right? It is not something which is copy pasted from some website. It is not something that parents have worked on it and students are submitting. It is not something that one person is working and others are just taking credit for the same. No, it won't be, because it will be the journey that teacher, access support system takes with the students who are performing the action. Automatically the journey will be authentic, the end result will be authentic, the learning will be authentic,
So there
right?
is a comment here which says it has similarities with portfolio, since portfolio also tackles collaboration, reflection, learning aids. Yes, lot of these are, some things are similar, but portfolio is generally, it's a reflection of what your work is throughout the year or throughout the years. You portfolio can be a project under project based learning, but project based learning is a more of an umbrella term under which we can use lot of topics. Yeah, lot, more, many things like problems based learning, project based learning, discovery learning, all this will have some common features to each other, right? Because we are all finally teaching and trying to engage students to become independent learners. So yes, there are a lot of similarities, but again they're not the same thing.
Right. So portfolio is a part of like in project based learning, they are going to do multiple activities, multiple steps, survey. They start with a survey, then they do some research, then analysis or whatever. Portfolio can be something where they're actually recording stuff. So digital portfolio can be, or a portfolio can be a record for the project, if that answers your question.
Yeah.
Okay,
So
going ahead.
Rajleen here says that in scaffolding we also integrate engineering and it's a temporary structure. Yes. So similarly, how we integrate engineering and hand skills, kinesthetic skills in making a scaffold, here we are integrating subjects and all the kind of learning, visual learning, the work we call it, in project based learning. Yeah.
Right.
Beautiful comments. Thank you.
Okay. So now, like we are talking since start, that it's a journey, it's a process. So there are two journeys that we'll talk about here, two parallel journeys, nothing different here. So two parallel journeys. The first journey that we're going to talk about is student's journey. What will a student do in the entire journey of project-based learning? Okay. So it starts with a prompt, a problem, or a challenge, not channel, a challenge. This is given to them by the teacher. So the teacher can either give a broad problem or teacher can give a specific problem. We'll be looking at a lot of examples of the kind of problems, challenges, or prompts that can be given. So it starts with a problem or a or a challenge or a prompt. The student starts the journey. Okay, now the broader problem that is given to them, they'll be creating the driving question. Now what does driving question mean? They'll be creating the the question on which they want to work. So for example, the broad topic that we gave in the example that me and Gunjan were talking about was nutrition using balanced diet. Now it's a very broad term. What does nutrition and balanced diet mean? Now maybe my driving question is, I want to research on what is malnourishment, and I want to work on the malnourishment, about problems faced during malnourishment and maybe solutions for what to do to avoid malnourishment. Okay, maybe that is my question that I want to work on. So as a student, I will have a broader problem given by the teacher, by the authority. I will be narrowing down to the question that I want to work on.
So
Okay.
another student might think, I will take obesity as the problem, which is facing the world. So another group might work on, on obesity and how to, how to make balanced diet so that we reduce the problems which are related to obesity. So another group might decide to do on that.
Right. So somebody is doing malnourishment, somebody is doing obesity, but we are all talking about nutrition as a broader term. So we'll not forget our broad term. Okay. So after we are done with driving question, then now my active research will start. Why it's active research? Because it has to be a continuous research. It has to be quick research, and it has to be action oriented research. It is not something that we look at 5 topics and we say, okay, fine, we'll get something from there. No, it is a very purpose driven research. Now, if I'm doing malnourishment, I will be researching on various sites about, if it's a community project, I'll say, okay, in my locality, what is the percentage of people who are malnourished? What are the diseases caused during malnourish in my locality? I can speak to local doctor and understand is he getting any cases of malnourishment. I can speak with people in my area about what is the diet that they follow, right? So all this is part of my active research. I can use various tools. I can record the interview. I can interview the people and maybe write down my notes. So all that is part of active research. Right. Gunjan, you want to add?
Okay, so we have the learning process now. So we divide the whole project-based learning approach or the project-based learning into different parts. So first you introduce the problem, then you are asking them to narrow down a question, then you are doing them research. So the learning process is very important, and in the process they might change also. You have to keep that area that no, maybe we are not doing this this research well. We have to change our the way we do it. So if you heard of Mr. Brunner, our famous Brunner, he talks about discovery based approach. Discovery based approach is starting with scaffolding, modeling and all, but it's basically based on 5 principles. One is problem solving, the second is learner management, because inherently project based learning is very fluid. People are making their own decisions. How do you manage that? How do you structure your lesson plan so that they reach that goal? It is not enough to give them just the objective and the topic and say, "Ki, now you do what you want to do." No, you have to give them structure. You will have to maybe guide them something. Maybe if they're stuck somewhere, you might have to guide them. Ki, why don't you go and talk to the community and see why they are having problems of malnutrition? Why don't you talk to some doctors? So you will have to guide them continuously. Learner management is very very important. And with students, they will go berserk. They will then when they start researching and from one to another, and they might start going into some very very different line than we are supposed to. Then you have to bring them back, right? No, bye, we have to do our aim is nutrition and malnutrition, and not kinds of foods and all. So you have to bring them back. The second is learner management. The third is integrating and connecting. So yeah, they've done a lot of research, they've done a lot of driving questions. How do you integrate into the importance of nutrition, for example? So integrating and connecting is very, very important principle of discovery based learning. Again, information analysis and interpretation. Generally, students can analyze very well, but to interpret is another ball game, right? So you, as a teacher, need to guide them how to interpret, how to analyze their decisions, and obviously, slowly they will gain those tricks and start doing it themselves. The last and the most important principle of discovery based approach is feedback and failure. So if you see an iceberg, you above the iceberg is the final project, but below the iceberg there is research, there is failure, there is not understanding things. You're asking your peers, you're trying to rope in other teachers to explain you. For example, you're learning biology, but the concepts of physics and chemistry also come in nutrition, right? So, and the concept of failure and telling students that it's okay to fail is very very important in project based learning or discovery based learning. Okay, this process was not okay, is not working, because maybe it's a community project and they are trying to tell the community that why nutrition is important, but still their peers are not understanding and still eating food which is not good for them. So my approach is not worked. Now what do I do? Do I make videos? Do I, do I talk to them? Do I counsel them? So failure is very important, and learning from failure is very important in discovery based approach. Finally, reflection. Again, as Roshali said, reflection has to be two ways. One is inward, and the other is, did my project went well? How, as a teacher, where could I have improved? As a teacher, next time when I do the same project with another set of kids, I already have learnings from there. So I've already made connections from my earlier use cases. So the most important is to create as many use cases as we can. So the more use cases we create, that means the more, project based learning lesson plans we create, the more we learn.
Correct.
Roshali, you
And
have to add
yeah, so
something. Yeah.
yeah, so just one more thing I want to add is that in project-based learning, like we have told earlier, and we are repeating this again, project-based learning is a journey that our students take. And in the end, they have to present their learning. They have to present what they have learned about the concept, and that is why they will be giving a solution. Problem based and project based, this becomes very confusing for everybody. So just to elaborate on it, problem based will have a problem, it will have a solution that is presented. In project based learning will have some part of problem based learning, but my learning journey is on the concept. My learning journey is on the learnings for a particular topic or a particular area, and I'll be presenting my learning and my discovery of the concept or the topic or the area, and I'll be presenting that and not specifically the solution. I might not have the solution, but I'll present my learning, that this is my observation, this is what I have learned, this is what I have understood, and this is what is I want to present. So I
So we
hope
want to
this
reiterate again, problem based learning is process based, and sorry, project based learning is process based, and problem based learning is product based. Simple.
product based. Product based. There is a answer to a question. In problem based, in project based, you have a process and you learn through the process.
So somebody has also asked what's the difference between PBL and scientific methods. Actually, it's a very different concept. Actually, PBL is scientific method only. So
Yeah.
if we do a if we do a science research, there are a lot of research being done. We'll maybe share some papers on problem based learning which have been done. So when you research it, it becomes scientific, right? Because it is working for many people. So problem based learning, project based learning, discovery learning, all these concepts are scientific learning,
Right.
right?
And don't
How
worry, we are just
anything
at the
becomes
start of
science
the
is,
session. We'll
yeah,
be sharing a lot of samples, we'll be discussing a lot of examples. We'll be actually taking one example and going through the student journey and teacher journey. So don't worry, we are
yeah.
going to do all that. This is just to give you the flow to understand the basic working, then we'll get into the implementation part of it.
So I'm
Okay?
very intrigued. People have now started talking about how nutrition affects learning, brain. So yes, so I think somewhere we have achieved that your brains have started working.
So exactly,
Yeah.
now just see, in our normal chapters, in our books, in our syllabus, nutrition and functioning of brain on empty stomach, I don't think it is mentioned anywhere. But when we start exploring, we will get into those details which is beyond the textbook or beyond the reference books that we are talking about here, which is used in school. So this will impact on the deeper learning. This will help students to learn deeper into the concept. The conceptual clarity will be there, and students will be able to apply this anywhere and everywhere. Then they have learned it for life. We want them to be lifelong learners, right? They need to learn a concept for life, and they need to be ready to learn for life,
So,
right? So great. Thank you. Thank you. Let's go ahead. So this is the student's journey. This is very simple. Demonstration of learning is what the students demonstrate. They will demonstrate their learning. This is very specific here. They'll demonstrate the learning that they have got in the entire journey, and they reflect on the process. Okay. So what are the prerequisites for students? They need to be ready to do research. They need to be ready to interview people. They need to be ready to write. They need to be ready to do analysis. They need some basic IT skills. And the most importantly, they need a very, very, very open mind. Because if the mind is not open, then these steps will not be able, they will not be able to do these steps. Right? So open mind is something that is required, and open mind is not only for students. That's why we have not said prerequisites for students. This is prerequisites for all educators and students. As a teacher, I should have open mind and I should be ready to take the steps the students are performing. I should be ready to accept the kind of surveys, the kind of references that they're using. I should be ready to see and respect that. And of course, as students, I should be ready to do research and ready to do analysis and things like that. Right?
These
Gunjan,
are
you
the
want to add
main,
something?
main parts of a project-based learning. Any project or any research you do, these are the main steps you do. So then nothing new in it. But yeah, you will, during the course of implementing project-based learning, you will inculcate these skills in them. Yes,
Absolutely.
Rushali, we can move
Yeah, you
ahead.
move ahead. Yeah, moving ahead. This is our favorite. Okay, so for all of you, this is a question. This is on the screen. You all have decided to go for a long trip, or you have decided to go on a trip. It can be a short trip or a long trip. What all are the things that you decide to go for a trip? Okay, what all things will you need? Just list down things that you will need to go for a trip. Trip can be anywhere you want, your dream trip, anywhere. So I would like to go to Switzerland once. I'll just share mine, what all I'll need. I'll need to see which is the season that is best to go. I will also have to check my schedule, whether I get a holiday or not. Right? Gunjan, what about you?
So there's so many people from Philippines here, so I would like to go to Philippines once now.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, so there is kimono dragon there, which I want to see.
Okay.
So how do I plan is, first, what time, what holidays, I have on my hands, how many days I could go. Then I will schedule. Then obviously most important, my budget. So then we prepare an itinerary. Somebody has said, Nina. Yeah.
I
What
love the
else?
answer. Go light, bring only necessary items.
Ah,
Corazon, I completely agree with you. Trust me, we are. So I travel very light. I can actually travel in one bag for 20 days. So I completely agree with you. When to go, where I will go. Okay, we are getting responses. So, okay, thank you to welcome us in Philippines. Thank you.
so
Okay, so
money, charger,
TKU,
phone, and
yeah,
camera.
yeah, so TKU also said when to go, where I will go, and how I will go. Good.
Very.
That's very important. Very first is budget. Yeah, high five. We also think about the budget first. Schedule, weather conditions, local food research. Perfect. Planning and budgeting. Good. Reservations. Yeah, Manisha, great. How much budget I have, how many days I have to go. If I go on a trip, I make sure to bring myself. Yes,
So there is
good.
very first budget, schedule, weather conditions, local food research. Very important.
Yeah. Map, camera, food, pocket money, clothes, shades, phone. Perfect. So what you all do is planning part. So I would also always have a plan B. Jennifer, awesome. We need a plan B as well. If something comes up or something happens, if we can't go, what will we do? Friend list to be invited. Oh, nice. You have a lot of friends to invite. Awesome. Okay, awesome. So if it's a short trip, my planning will be a bit different, right? If it's my short trip, I might say, okay, I have a weekend off. Maybe I'll go by car, or I'll take a bus, or I'll take a train. I'll reach in 3 hours or something. I'll spend a weekend there. I'll chill. I don't want to do anything. I don't want to roam around. I'm talking about myself. But if I'm going on a long trip, say 15 days or 20 days or 21 days, I'll have planned day by day. On day one, I will reach, I will sleep, I will go to this place, I'll have dinner here. Day two, this is the trip that I want to take on day two. Day three, I'll visit this monument. The day four, I'll go to this museum. I'll have my list ready for day wise, right? Yeah, itemized what I need and check my budget. Exactly. Mentally and emotionally prepared for the trip. Absolutely. I'm always ready for the trip, if you ask me. Okay, plan and budget. All right, all right. So why we did this is I want you all to come back from your dream trip and come back on the project-based learning, come back on the PPT mentally. Why we did here is that if we take a journey of travel, we plan so much budget, timeline, date-wise itinerary, places to go, blah, blah, blah. Project-based learning is also a journey that a teacher is going to take. And it also needs planning. It also needs itinerary. It also needs budget. It also needs a lot of research of the weather and climate of the place. This needs research on the kind of websites and places that students will visit to do their research. So yeah, project-based learning is a journey, like a vacation, and a lot of planning that is required. So I'll just go to the next slide. But great, I'm so happy with the responses. Thank you so much. And you know what? Whether it's on YouTube and StreamYard, we always worry about the interaction. But I'm so happy that you're interacting so well, and it's making the session more engaging. Thank you once again. So yes, going on the next. Without planning, there'll be no justice on the project. So the planning is divided into three parts: the pre-work, during the project, and post work, right? So in pre-work, we'll be creating the entire design and flow. So like we have discussed, the teacher is a support system, but teacher will be acting as a guide first, because we need to give them the area, we need to give them the focus for inquiry, we need to give them the goals and objectives. What is the major goal? They will be creating the driving question, but we need to give them the goal on which they have to drive the question on, right? And they need to actually work on as a teacher, we need to give them the overall expectations of the project. We also need to work on the rubrics for assessment. So we are also going to talk about rubrics in some time when we talk about the assessment part. So we need to work on the rubrics, we need to work on the design or itinerary of the entire project based learning. That is the pre-work. During my work will be mentoring, observing, support if required. That's during, I won't say I have less work because I have so many students to work with, but during my work is more of monitoring or mentoring rather. And post work or evaluation will also be part of during, but there's self-reflection for students, self-reflection for teachers. So all that happens post work. Gunjan, you
Vishali,
want to
have
add
you
something?
moved the slide early next to the next slide? I can still see the trip slide.
Oh no, I have moved it.
Okay. So maybe a problem. No problem. It's okay.
Okay. You want to add something to this?
Uh, no. So we have pre-work and post-work all chalked out for us to the teachers. Next, we will also take you through the journey of a teacher, right?
Yeah, absolutely. So here we are. Gunjan, now can you see my slide? Is it changed for you?
I'm unable to see. Ethan, can you help? Can you see the slide? Acha, so stop sharing and share again, Rushali.
Yeah, he's done
So
that. Now it
sorry for
stopped
this tech
sharing.
issue.
Uh, Can you add now, Ethan? I'm so sorry. Oh, now it's added. Can you see it now?
I cannot. Reshare again, Ethan is saying, Roy is saying.
Okay. I'll share again. Just take 10 seconds, okay? Don't worry, teachers, we are not going anywhere. This happens. Yeah, I've shared my screen. Ethan, can you add me in?
Yeah,
Okay.
now we can see it.
I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I'll go to the
That's good.
pre-slide again. If I hope this is visible now.
Yeah, so we will repeat
Okay.
the slide
Yeah,
for
we'll
you
repeat it.
again. Again, the pre-work in involves your thinking ahead. What do you want to do in the project? The topic. How would you plan it? How much duration you want it for? Which class you want it for, or which subject, which other subject teachers you want to involve. You will have to focus on inquiry, obviously. Very clear goal and objectives. You will need to prepare, rubrics much in much in advance, and then share it with them also. It is usually teachers, and as as educators, we do not want to share rubrics because this is the way we are evaluating. But we strongly suggest how you are going to evaluate, share with them in the beginning only, so that they know where, what they have to do and where they will be evaluated. Again, you have to create the project, so maybe a small, written small instructions, or a small page of, what the project is all about, or email that you will have to do during the project. Again, because initially you will have to model. So, if Rushali had say, first me, then we together, and then you, right? So initially you will have to mentor them more, and then, slowly they do on themselves. Then obviously observation is very important. So you will have to keep detailed observation sheets for each group, with you, so that, in the end, or during the course, you want to change the project, or change the way they, or you want to do your own research, so how you can help them better, you can do that. Post work is the usual. You have to evaluate them. The most important, again, I will reiterate, is failure and reflection. And reflection on not only your your the students success, but where they failed, why they failed, what they learned from their failure. Similarly, self reflection for teachers.
Right.
I think
So,
we can
like
go
we
ahead.
saw, yeah. So, like we saw the student's journey. Now, this is a parallel journey or a journey that starts before the student's journey, is identifying the problem, plan for the project, and schedule. If you can see the schedule icon, it is actually planning in detail about what you expect them to do in week 1, week 2, week 3, week 4, or maybe in the first 2 days and next 2 days and next 2 days, what you plan. So that is the schedule. This is the pre-work that a teacher needs to do. Identifying a bigger problem, creating a basic plan of the problem. So we'll be showing you a basic plan example as well in some time. So what a basic plan means, and the schedule part of it. This is the pre-work that a teacher does. Now, monitor progress, continuous monitoring, support assessments, and last is the evaluation, right? Reflection part is not mentioned here because we've already mentioned it multiple times.
So
And
anyway,
at every
evaluation
point,
also
so when
will
we are doing
is
monitoring progress, this stage is very critical because this is where students might fail, might go in a different direction, or might just be lost about what to do, where to go. So this is the step which is during the project based learning journey, and this is where teacher will be there to push, nudge, support, give them, uh, just guide them on the right path, on the path that leads them to the goal. And failure, so it's always fail fast to learn fast to succeed fast, right?
True.
So this is always you have to remember. If a student is getting demotivated and not getting answers and getting, oh, I have failed, it's okay, because if you fail, now you know what not to do, right? It's very important to know what to do, but it is most important to know what not to do. So now we know what not to do. Let's start with something else and take that journey ahead, right? So, yeah, so this is about the teacher's journey. Any questions here? You can start posting. We can take it in between, right?
So again, I would like to reiterate,
Now,
evaluation
my
is
role,
part of
my
the
as
whole
in
journey,
teacher's role.
right?
Gunjan, you're on mute. We can't hear you.
No, I'm not. Can you hear me?
No, can't hear you. Can you unmute and mute?
I did. I tried.
Nope.
Roy can hear
Is it
me. So
me?
there
Can
is
you?
a internet
This
issue
is
at your end.
screen.
Okay. Anyway, so
Okay, you
what
can
I
hear
wanted to
Gunjan
say
now.
was that evaluation is, at each stage. It's not only in the
Okay.
end stage. So you're evaluating yourself at each stage of your teacher journey.
Okay, there was some problem. I don't know,
Yeah.
some technology problem that is happening here. I'm so sorry. I really sincerely apologize for this. Didn't expect this at all.
No
Um,
problem, Vishali. Yeah.
okay. So, teacher's role. My role as a teacher, becoming a facilitator, I have four areas. Okay. One is I need to be responsible for the discipline of the entire project. I can't leave the students go haywire. I can't make the students not respect uh, the group members, taking just I am the authority and I dictate the project. I can't have that kind of leaders in the group, because otherwise there'll be no learning. There'll just be some random project happening when not everybody is participating. So we can't have that in picture. I can't let students copy it from somewhere and take ownership that I made this. So all this, as a teacher, my role as a facilitator is what is very critical. So I should be responsible for the discipline. I should be responsible for creating an authentic project. I should be able to help students creating connections, and I should be able to give students the voice and choice. I'll not be dictating. As a teacher, I should not dictate. And because teacher is a role model for students, if I don't dictate, students will not dictate. If I start dictating, then there will be some leader in the group who will start dictating other group members, right? So we have to make sure that as a teacher, as a role model, you're not supposed to uh, spoon feed them. You are supposed to give them voice and choice, support and collaboration, work with them, right? Take them towards higher order thinking, take them towards helping them towards merging different subjects. So in one of the discussions that we had, we are telling involving English teachers and science teachers and doctors, involve more people and give students more flexibility of learning, right? Gunjan, you want to add?
Yeah, so there is a comment that they can't see the slides. Roy, if you want, I can present. I think Dushali has some internet issues. I'll share my screen. Just give me 1 minute. Yes, I think I have shared my screen. You can. So you can see the screen now?
Yeah, we can see it, Gunjan. At least I can
Yes.
see it.
Yeah,
You'll have
so
to
we were.
present. You have to present the screen. Yeah.
Yeah, I've presented. Can you see that now?
Yes, yes, yes.
Yeah. So we were at the collaboration point, right, Roshali?
Yes. Yeah, so you want to add to it? Yeah.
So again, when we do collaboration, it is very good to divide students in small groups. Again, one of the prerequisites of project-based learning is divide the students in small groups, because when you divide them into groups, the quality of interaction is higher. There is more, there is more interaction with each other. There's more, thinking with each other, and obviously they can have interactions also, but mostly we, suggest you to divide them into small groups. So if you think of a strategy, then cooperative learning strategy works very well with project based learning. That was it, Rushali. Should I move ahead?
Yeah, yeah, please.
So we will also now look at assessments in project-based learning now. Rushali, you want to take it from here?
Yeah. So, assessment in project based learning, as a teacher, I should have a checklist for goals. So, I have a goal. I need to have the list, the checklist that, for example, if nutrition is my goal, then there are different concepts in nutrition. Balanced diet, maybe I want to talk about the percentage a person eats carbohydrates and proteins and so on. So, I need to have a checklist of the concepts that I want the students to cover, the list of resources which are age appropriate and project appropriate, and mentoring milestones. So when I talk about milestones, what it means, um, again taking nutrition as an example, because that is what we are talking about, nutrition. I need to have my milestone. Okay, the first step is survey. The students will they will be creating driving questions first about what is the question they want to. Like, I am taking the malnourishment. Gunjan took the obesity, the case of obesity. So that is the first milestone, right? The milestone of creating the driving questions. Then my next milestone will be based on the driving question. They'll be doing some research. They'll be maybe interviewing people. They'll be doing some research on the research papers. They'll be making notes. So my next milestone, what is the uh, what is the criteria in that milestone? So at different milestones, I will have mentoring and assessments. All right. This assessment is to check whether the student is going in the right direction, whether the student is achieving towards the goal. All right. For students, the assessment will be, they will have their rubrics that teachers are using, so they will know exactly in what direction they have to go. And at different steps, they'll be checking, okay, if I am doing according to the rubrics, right? And they'll also have some checklists that, okay, I have done this step is done. I had to create the driving question, yes, done. I had to create a survey, yes, done. So they will have these. So these are all assessment, are not pen paper assessments, but these are all assessments towards the bigger goal that they have to achieve. Okay. So this is a sample rubric for teachers. If you don't have this, don't worry. You can register for this course, so you'll get details about how to register for this course for the certificate on Acadasia platform. So you will have this presentation, you will have this reference with you, so you don't worry. You can log in and get all these details in the from the presentation. So this is a rubric for teacher. This is a general rubric for teacher, where you are talking about, you are assessing the design and planning, the alignment to the standards about how you define the project, and building the culture. If I'm a beginner, so if a teacher is doing this, and suppose teacher gives a project, and teacher is, at every point teacher is intervening and in telling students, what, students, maybe, okay, I'm just taking some examples. Okay, Rosalind, you will have to use this link. um, Isaiah, you will have to interview the doctor. Dwarika, you have to ask this question, this question, this question to the teacher. If I am doing that, then I am a beginning level PBL teacher. I don't know what is PBL, because PBL is not this. Right? Makes sense? Developing teacher is, you know how rubrics are made. So I'm just giving this example. Uh, I give student voice and choice, but I guide them more than required. I keep on sending them reference links. Take this, use this, right? Um, I help them in creating the driving question, but I give them freedom to interview whoever they want to and create the questions whoever they are doing it, right? So beginning is not doing it correctly, developing is just there, and gold standard PBL teacher is the one who is following, giving student voice and choice, giving them all the rubrics, giving them guidance, giving them direction of the schedule, giving them access to right people. Access, not actually taking them to the doctor. Access, whoever you want to interview, you have this person, whoever you want to interview, you can, right? And creating a healthy environment where the students have freedom to express, students have freedom to ask, and students have freedom to, uh, say that, yeah, I failed. I don't know what to do. So creating a learning environment where students are feel free, and creating an inclusive environment, that is very important. Inclusive environment,
True.
that if I am a girl, I'm not comfortable, or if I am a boy from a different religion, I'm not comfortable. All these things should not matter, because we all are one, we are working together in collaboration. So creating a learning zone, creating an environment which is inclusive and everybody feels happy, secured and safe. And if we are feeling happy, secured and safe, the learning is easier, the expression is easier, and the project based learning will go smoothly.
So again, we put a rubric, which is a very standard rubric, which you generally, make and give them points. This is for students. A teacher has the difference between problem and project-based learning is a project-based learning might have many products, not only one product. You might have a survey, you might have a presentation, you might have, you a child might decide, we want to take this as a project and we want to enhance awareness of nutrition in students, and we want to make sure that everybody eats well. So how do they monitor how everybody eats well? So that also is one product, right? So a standard rubric will have, how the students have designed their whole project, what knowledge they have gained, what real life application they have learned, how, because again, everything about project based learning is that it should be applied in real life, so again, that would be one important part of the rubric. Their presentation, again, those marks which are not, they're just representative purposes. You might decide, I want to give presentation only, 10% marks. It's not important. The process is more important. Your decision. So this is a standard rubric we have just put for you to show you, how we can build on rubrics.
Right.
You want to show this rubric, Rushali? Then I'll just stop share. Then,
Yeah, let me present.
yeah.
So, like Kunjan correctly said, because it's a journey or a process, there are a lot of multiple activities that they will be doing, right? So maybe they'll be doing a survey, then they'll be maybe writing a basic report, then they'll be doing some research, then they'll have to present. They might have to write a letter, maybe a letter to some community leader about things to do, things not to do, and this is a solution. So, uh, all these interventions will have uh, respective rubrics. Okay. So, teachers will have to work on the rubrics. Students will have these rubrics as a reference, so that what they should do and what they should not do will be there in the rubric. Okay. So, I'm sharing my screen right now. Just hold on. I hope it is.
So what we have done to get before you is we are showing you a tool called Ruby Star. Some of you might know, some of you might not, but Ruby Star is a very nice online free tool which can help you make rubrics.
Right. So, Ethan, can you please put it on screen? Thank you so much. I will zoom in. I understand this is not, yeah. Okay. Is this okay now? Visible?
Yes, 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 yes.
So rubystar.4teachers.org, we will be pasting the link in the chat. And like I said, that this will be, so those, for those who log in on Acadesia platform and will be taking the certificate for this course, you will get access to the links and everything. So this is Ruby Star. This is a free tool to create rubric. So I'll just show you how you can do rubrics. You see, create rubrics for your project-based learning activities. You can see this. So this is usually used for different activities in the project-based learning. So you click on create rubric. Okay. Okay. So when you go on create rubric, you will have all these options. Okay.
This
There are so
math,
many options.
music, art, reading,
Letter
research.
writing, report writing, storytelling, debate. So in a project, you might want to have a debate as well. Then there is a debate, timeline, newspaper article, poster making. So whatever is required in a project, or you can use this for other activities as well, but here we'll focus on the project-based learning. Now let's click one and let's create one. Okay. So now, for example, I want to do it on interview. Now, interview. Now, you'll have to fill this instruction. So I'll just fill my name, Roshali Shik. Now, what is the interview with a doctor? Suppose interview with the doctor is the project. You can write the name as per your requirement. You can write your PIN code, or for visitors, it's 9999. So I'll just do that. Make it a temporary rubric. Now, the beauty of this is there are categories that are given here. Now, in an interview, what all I will have? I'll have to set up the interview. I'll have to prepare. I'll have to do note taking. I'll have to ask follow up questions. So, all these categories are already given for each and every activity. Okay. And now, for example, politeness is the parameter that I'm looking at. For example, students never interrupted or hurried the person interviewed, gets 4 marks. Rarely interrupted, 3 marks. Students hurried but forgot to thank the person, 2 marks. Forgot to thank, was hurrying, was interrupting, 1 mark. You can also change it. So this is standard what they have given, but you can also make it maybe 3, 2, sorry, 2, 1, 0. Maybe I want to do it that way. Or I want to give them 5, 2, 1, 0. So you will get a skeleton. You can make necessary changes. Even you can change this also. Several times the students interrupted and hurried the person being interviewed and forgot to thank the person in between and towards the end. So you can use this and you can make necessary changes as well. Okay. Or if you want to change the name of the, so politeness is the name of the category, but if you want to name it as empathy, suppose I'm just giving a word to it. You can change politeness to empathy as well. Okay, now let's choose a different category. Follow-up questions. The student listened carefully to the person being interviewed and asked several relevant follow-up questions. Okay, the student listened carefully and asked a couple of relevant questions. Ask a couple and didn't ask any follow-up questions. Okay, so all this now, then maybe we choose preparation. Before the interview, student prepared several in-depth questions, some in-depth question, prepared only factual question, and did not prepare any question based on whatever was happening the student asked. Okay, so we can choose how many parameters we want. Suppose I choose only 3 right now. Once I go down, I have to go down, down, down. There are so many parameters. You can choose how many ever you want. Suggestion, when you are making a rubric, don't add 10 parameters. Maybe you want to give 10 checklist. Okay, in a checklist, you can give 10 points that remember this, do this, do this. In rubric, keep it simple, keep it 5 parameters or 4 parameters, because remember, you will be evaluating all the students on these parameters. Okay, if you keep multiple parameters, it becomes very taxing to actually do it for all students or all groups. And for students also, it becomes very taxing. So you can give checklist with everything that you want the students to remember, and then you assess on very important points that you want on. Okay. So once we fill, I have filled 3 right now. You can fill as many as you want. You can keep on adding the category that you want. Once you are done, click on submit. Okay. Once you submit, you have this rubric. It becomes a print ready file. You can download, print your rubric. So you can download this file. And once you download this file, you can share it with the students. Is it okay? Is it clear? Yes,
So
thank you. So,
yeah.
yes, Kunjan.
There are a lot of thank yous coming our way. Uh, Thank you for participating so much. Yeah. So again, we'll reiterate. Remember to make a checklist long and a rubric simple.
Yeah, this is a mantra that all teachers should follow. Checklist should be detailed. You can add as many checklists as you want. You might want to add that um spend spend not more than 7 to 8 minutes per question. Ask as many follow-up questions as possible. So maybe on checklist you can mention a lot of things. In rubric, keep 4 or 5 parameters only. Right? And the link is already shared with you in the chat. You can Google Ruby Star and you will get this. And trust me, it is very useful because in project based, there are so many small activities that they do. And for every activity, it's better that you give them a rubric so that they know what is the direction that they have to take, what is the expectation that the students are expected to do. All right, good. So thank you so much. So this is the first part of project-based learning where we wanted to discuss about the teacher journey, the student journey, the flow, assessment, because it's very important for all of us to assess students, assess teachers, reflect on it, and maybe the steps. What we can do is now we can take a 15-minute break. Okay. You can, you can take a 15-minute break, come back, and in the second part of the session, we have a lot of examples. We'll be actually conducting a project-based learning journey with you. Okay, we'll have a case study where you will be the students and you will be answering, and we'll be facilitating here about how to go about project-based learning. Keep your pens and books ready, and yeah. So,
And
Roy, would
minds
you like to?
open.
Yeah, Roy, would you join?
Hi.
Yes, thank you.
Hello, Vishali and Gunjan. That was really great. I think the
Thank
first
you.
half of our training session today really brought a lot of insights of PBL. Very happy that everyone is participating in the chat and posting in the Mentimeter. That's really great. We want active participation from all of you. Yeah, so for today, because some time zones, like in the Philippines, it's almost lunchtime, I encourage those taking the 15-minute break now to grab a quick bite, and then after that, we have another hour and a half with Gujan and Vishali to continue our session. Okay, so see you guys all back in 15 minutes. Thank you very much, and see you back in a bit.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so
Don't
much.
go away. You have to come back in 15 minutes.
Yeah, come back in 15 minutes. We'll continue the session. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello and welcome back, everybody. Welcome again to the second half of Acad Asia Saturday School. And today we're with our friends from Orange Slates, who'll be introducing it to us an in depth view in how to do project based learning. So I'd like to invite back our friends Gunjan and Vishali up on the stage so that we can continue session. Gunjan, Vishali, I hope you had a pretty okay break. I think it's a good break for everyone and for our friends from all over the world. You can just continue to kind of munch on your snacks or whatever while we're continuing the session. I hope Gunjan, Vishali, you guys are okay.
We are completely okay. Thank you. Rushali, you're muted.
Okay, yes, we are back. We had our tea. I was having tea during the session. You all could see, and you all can also sip tea and coffee with us. We are okay with it. As long as the learning is happening, we are okay with you munching as well. That's completely all right. Thank you so much, Roy.
Thank you
Oh,
so
done with
much.
lunch? Awesome. Very good. You also had your quick
Wow.
lunch, Roy?
Yeah, I did. I just, ate a little bit of actually leftover pancakes from breakfast. I just
Oh,
finished
wow.
a little bit of them, but just as a quick bite to get us through the next hour and a half. Really excited, learning a lot from the session. Gunjan Rashali, this is really fantastic. In depth look at
Thank you.
PBL. I see Gisela in the chat's also done with her lunch. Okay, hopefully not. Don't eat too fast. Take your time, guys. Okay,
Yeah, we are talking
so
about nutrition since morning. So I'm
yeah.
sure we have to take care of what we eat, how we eat. But I'm so happy that you all are back. You can continue your lunch or you continue your eating along with the session. Just keep listening, keep your mind open, ears open, eyes open is more than enough for us to for now.
Fantastic.
Right. So
Okay, Gunjan Vishali,
thank you.
I'll give the floor to you. Thank you so much, and please continue.
Thank you
Thank you,
so
Roy,
much.
so much.
I'll present my screen. Just hold on a
Yeah, so
second.
how we go ahead is we take a quick look at what we did earlier, the section,
Yeah,
and then we go ahead, right?
sure.
So we will take examples now, but before just let's have a quick summary of what we did. So we started with what project based learning is and what project based learning is not. We started with student journey, teacher's journey. We saw how much planning is required, what skills we need to hone, difference between project and problem based learning, difference between scientific learning and non scientific learning. We went into rubrics. We saw a small tool called Ruby Star, which will help you make rubrics. And now we go ahead and talk about how to do it in actual life, so real life scenarios.
Right. So
Yes,
here what we are
Vishali?
going to do is, yeah, here what we are going to do is we are going to take one example, go on a brief journey of project based. Okay. So we look at the direction, the driving question, some sample of rubric and how we can go about in the school with the students. Then we will be taking one example where we will be doing the project together. So first we are modeling and then we will do together. So I understand you will be doing it on chat, but let's try to do it together and how we can work on the project and we can see different examples. Maybe we will not discuss in detail about all the projects. We'll take that as an example and maybe let's see how we explore it. Let's go ahead. Okay, so in project example, this is a project example for grade 6 level, and the content area you can see is it incorporates science, maths, and social studies together. Gunjan, you want to take this up?
Yeah, so the project is, I'll just read it for you because I'm sure the things would be small for you to read. Students are confronted with sudden realization that school is using too much electricity. Again, this problem is found by the students and not the teacher. They only realize that they are using too much electricity and they should work in small teams to solve this problem, which is of a energy crisis problem. Obviously, you can from the school you can take it to the community, to the country. It is scalable, but currently because they are students, we keep it for the school. The objectives is first they have to create a driving question for the project. The second is they have to research about how they will save electricity. So for that they would need the knowledge of fossil fuels, renewable energy, alternative energy sources, and so on. They will have to analyze the real data from school. So they will have to collect the electricity bills, the water bill, XYZ, the amount of, equipment required, amount of, electricity bulbs required and whatnot from the school department. Again, if it is not there, they might have to create it. They have to create a whole checklist or a data of what equipments the school is using. Again, they have to create your own solution. How do they reduce the electricity bill? It can be as simple as switching off the lights. So you make it mandatory that as soon as the last child has to switch off the light. And then they might have some mechanism. If you've not switched, you are fined, or you're clicked. Their decision. And finally, they need to present this idea to their whole school and take a buy-in from the school, right? Because alone you can't do anything. Together, I'm sure they can, do much, much better things. So what are the resources which they can use is, there are already online lot of projects which people have done. So they can read research papers. You can always ask the science and social science maths to take a earlier session on renewable energy and what is non-renewable energy. I'm Because sixth grade, I think it is part of their curriculum also. To connect it with your curriculum, you get all the teachers together and make a lesson plan right at the beginning, not now when you are planning stage, the year before you plan this project there. You want to add some things, Rushali?
No, absolutely. So I will just bring to your notice the objectives that you see. The objectives are all higher order. They analyze, they create, they present, they research. So automatically, organically, the whatever steps you follow, smaller steps, you will be leading to higher order thinking skills for students. This is just to add. So this is the project. Now this is the planning that a teacher has done and given to the students. Okay, this is the planning stage, and these projects are created for different groups. Now more details if you go. So this is an example we are showing you, and that is why we are giving into first step more details. So now the problem is you are a group of young scientists. So now I have termed students into young scientists who are tasked with researching your school energy's consumption and creating an alternative solution that will reduce spending and improve the environment. Okay, the school board wants your community to thrive even as non-renewable resources become increasingly expensive and scarce. Now, this is getting deeper into the problem. Okay, the school board members believe that efforts begin with changing the energy strategy to alternative energy resources, to changing how we use the energy we have. Right, so now the school is turning towards your classroom, your group, to see that our young people will be the ones to live their lives with a new world of energy. They're open to new ways of thinking. What do you suggest? So your science teacher says your class will look into alternative resources. So this is a story that is created towards a problem of energy crisis. And now students will be young scientists in finding possible solutions for the school board. So direction. Now each student, this is a step, this is not to be shared or anything. This is a stepwise planning that we were talking about. The teacher will be planning, right? So each student will be working in teams of 4 students. Here we have taken 4 students. If you think we need 6 students, you can do that as well. All students will be acting as young scientists by asking questions, conducting research, including experiments, drawing conclusions, and so on. The research will include books, websites. So all this planning has to be done by the teacher. That maybe which kinds of books they want to refer to, websites, applications, if they're conducting interviews, all that research part. They have to present their findings of learning, possible solutions to help their school save money on energy, and how to preserve the environment. So it is money as well as environment. Right? Each member will contribute to group presentation. And the presentation must include the problem, the research, and the possible solution. The important part is they have to present the research as well. It is not only that they present this is the problem, this is the solution. They have to present their journey of learning. They can also present what worked for them, what did not work for them in the presentation, right? As young scientists, each role is to contribute to group's presentation. So it's not only one person doing it, it's the entire group doing it. So here, as an example, we have said, okay, fine, if there are four people, the first person will be manager, the second person will be journalist, third can be designer, and fourth can be engineer. And these roles are interchangeable in the group itself, right?
So, Shali,
And
there is an issue. I think your slides are freezing. If you can unshare, I will share my.
sure, sure.
Yeah, just a second. Give me 1 minute.
Yeah.
I'm sharing my screen. Um, just a second. So I have presented. You can share my screen now. Can you see it
Yeah,
now?
we can see it. Yes, we can see it. And these are few additional questions to consider, that how can the action of people in your community be contributing to this problem? Which would be the best alternative source of energy for the community? And how can your school conserve energy? How can you conserve energy? These are all driving questions that students might create or teachers can support them with, right? And this is what I was talking about earlier, as questions and group roles.
As a
You can,
teacher, it's also important that you make it sure that their individual contribution also counts. So if you see, there is a point which says all students must conduct research and presents finding to your team. So first you present to the team, and as a team you present to the class, right? So it's important to make sure that each one participates.
right? Every person will have a role to play.
Yeah. So, if you've seen, Roshali has put some group roles in the presentation. So, these are some natural roles which students will take. You do not have to ask them to become a manager or a designer or the leader. No, it is there so that you are just noting it down, for maybe for this small product, this person is become a leader for a video. Somebody is very good at making video, so there in that small project he becomes, that student becomes a leader. So obviously these roles are also very fluid.
Right. So this is one of the rubrics, again a sample rubric that can be given for this particular project, right? That does a student plan and structure the project thoughtfully and purposefully, exceed expectation, meet expectation, approaches expectation, doesn't meet the expectation. Then did they demonstrate the understanding of ideas through inquiry? Does the student use variety of skills and strategies to apply knowledge to the problem? Does the student take the necessary steps to fulfill the realize the project goal? Does the student effectively communicate the central idea of the project while they are presenting? So if you see in the rubric also, the rubric is for the journey that the students take and not on the final presentation only. Why we are emphasizing on this is because we want you to just take this away very strongly, that project based learning is a journey that a student takes, teacher takes, and the teacher evaluates based on the journey and not only on the final product. And that is why if you see on the rubric, it is on the design, knowledge, application, process, and presentation. Now, what is the weightage that you want to give? It depends on you.
And again, this rubrics can be used at different points of projects. So not necessarily you use it once. The same rubric can be used at the beginning, at the middle, at if they have two, three different projects inside the project, then for each project you can use that.
Absolutely. So if
So
you
now,
see in the project example that we showed about, it takes care of the 21st century skills. Now, 21st century skill is the most talked about thing in all the presentations, in
I
all
know.
the strategies, in all the conversation talk of future ready 21st century skills. Uh, we need to understand that 21st century skills is not only about communicating well, collaborating with people, talking to everybody. It focuses on very three important areas: foundation literacy, competencies, and character qualities. We should not forget the character quality, importance of character qualities in a child. Right, Gunjan?
True. So again, all the skills cannot be covered in one project or one. Obviously, there we will have to pick and choose. So, for example, report writing use lot of communication and writing skills. So your literacy and reading, writing skills are taken care of. Maybe some project might not have lot of math skills. That's completely okay. These are those umbrella and big skills. We can always decide which one we want to concentrate on.
Yeah. But there are some which are non-negotiable, like communication, collaboration, creativity, non-negotiable. It has to be part of every project. Curiosity, adaptability. Adaptability is again very crucial in project-based learning, because you have to adapt to, if there is any change, any issue that comes up, you need to adapt in your project, right? So this is about the 21st century. So you want to emphasize
So
more
see,
on?
culture building comes very naturally to project-based learning. Unless you create a culture, unless you create an environment which is non-threatening, and an environment which is which is very um, inclusive and also very enthusiastic, you can't do a project-based learning kind of lesson plan.
Absolutely.
Yeah, so
So
that
this
is
is
why
one
we.
sample template. Okay, you can, if you have your own template, you want to add some elements from this, you can. This is not the standard project based learning lesson plan, nothing like that. This is a template that is taken from a source. You can create your own project. The main parameters about the journey that we have spoken, it needs to have the project idea. It needs to have the broad project idea. It needs to have the driving question, because the students will be working on the driving question. Uh, you can add the skills that you are measuring, so that students are clear about what are the skills that they need to work on. You can add that. So in this, we have added the 21st century skills, which are addressed to a particular project. If you want, you can add that as well. What we would like you to make sure that it is there is that, as a group, what I did, and as an individual, what I did or what I learned. This is very, this part becomes a part of reflection also. That as a group, what I'm doing, as an individual, what I'm doing, what I'm learning, and how it has helped me to grow, right? And
There are
who
many
are the,
reflection tools you can use for it. There is one KWLH strategies which we all do. You can use that, or you can use debating tools for feedback. There's so many things which you can use.
yeah, you can use, or every milestone you can have this: what worked for you, what did not work for you.
Yeah, graphic
That is also
organizers are a very good tool
great.
for feedback.
Absolutely, graphic organizer works. You can ask the students at every milestone, they have to create a concept map about what happened in the journey, or they can create a journey tool of the process. So that is all completely okay. And mainly, who is the audience that they are working for? So, for example, are they working on a project for their classroom, their school, their community overall? So they know what is the scale of the project. If I'm doing something for my class, my process will be different, or my process can be the same, but my audience is different, so my solution will be different, right? If I'm doing something for my school, my scale is completely different, right? So I should know, as a student or as a group, as a team, whom am I working this project on. So for example, the one that we are looking at, Gunjan, can you go back on
Yeah.
the main slide of the project earlier? Yeah. So this project that we are looking at, this project is for the school. It is very clearly mentioned. One more slide behind. It is very clearly mentioned that the school board wants your classroom to work on a project for energy conservation, right? So it is for the entire school. So you may be going at a project classroom level, but your outcome, your final presentation should be something for the school level. So you can start with something for the classroom. Maybe 10 classroom does this activity. So overall the school will be making some change, right? So it is very important for students to know for whom this project is getting created and accordingly work on that scale and define milestones. I hope I hope this is making sense to you, and I hope we are not going very fast on this.
So we can repeat if you want. So in a lesson plan, I would also call it a project plan. You would have the project, obviously, the duration. So it's 6 months, it's 2 months, it's 1 week, that kind of duration. Which generally suggested to be a little longer than a week. Week is too small, then you can call it a problem based learning more. Then grade level, other subjects areas which are included. So which other teachers I'm roping in. Can I put this project as part of curriculum planning at the very beginning when we are at the planning stage in the school? And then can are can the teachers who are involved in this project uh, coordinate the lessons so that children know the content of the project before they actually start the project. Project idea, obviously, very important. Again, driving question. How will you elicit the driving question from the students is more important. Yes, for yourself you will write your driving question, but it has to be elicited from students. Content and skills to be assessed. Very, there are many ways which you do it, and many skills. For example, this project is on electricity, so you're looking at knowledge of geography, you're looking at knowledge of non-renewable sources, and so on. The 21st century skills that you are most focusing on, obviously most of them will be covered, but where do you want what maybe you want to take a class which is not cohesive now and you want to make it cohesive. So collaboration is something which you are targeting. Your presentation skills we are targeting. Then culminating products and performance. So you should be very clear and structured that I want a video, I want a presentation, I want a doable solution to this, and not a normative solution, but actually a real life solution to this. And an action plan report by students. So all those products and performances you will have to put in. And also, how will you rate a student individually, right? So there are some assignments you might have to give them individually also, so that you're able to assess if the student is performing, or is he putting the effort and is not being overpowered by the other schoolmates. All those things you have to care. And finally, as Rushali said, audience, the scope of the project or the product you will have to define. Should we move ahead, Rushali?
Yeah, so just to add, we just got a comment saying that it's really great to have collaboration among subjects. That is the beauty of project-based learning. So I think I read some earlier comments that, if you have subject silos in school, then you can't do project-based learning. That's not true.
Yes.
Because even if you have silos, there is always a common theme that you can take from all the subjects, and all subjects can come and work together. So that is the beauty of project-based learning, because it will have hidden agenda of making all the subjects meet together, right? Because trust me, the way learning happens is on not actually subject specific. So for example, when I see weathering of rocks, I should understand there is friction happening, and friction I learn in science, and weathering I learn in geography, right? If I'm learning about eclipse, about how the sun moves and rotates and revolution and rotation and happen, the distance, I need to understand the importance of distance using maths. And I'm learning in science, the eclipse, right? So we have integration everywhere. It's just that we have to find and make the student understand that we are not learning two different things. We learn water cycle in geography. We learn water cycle in science. We learn water cycle in some way in English also. There are, or some any language, you will be having some story about raindrops or some poem about raindrops and journey of water, and you learn about water cycle in it, right? But we make sure that this is science, this is geography, this is English, this is Hindi, or maybe some other language that you're talking about. So this is where we have to change our mindset. We have to be open minded, and we have to be ready to accept that subject silos are there because the curriculum, the way we follow, and it is all driven by the policies that are created for us. In a school, when we execute, we can always combine various subjects and work together, right?
True,
So
Shali, as you said, subject silos are only in minds of teachers and the school. For the child, ka brain is only one. So the
and that is
science,
what we
math,
have
and
to make them
everything. Yeah,
understand. We have to make them
yeah.
understand that these silos are just because so that there is a structure to learning. There's nothing wrong in it. There is a structure to learning, and this is how the structure is defined by our policies. It is changing now, but still we have structure. But when we are doing project based learning, how we can make these lines disappear of silos and make everything come together where they learn. Because in real life, so when you start working, when you are doing jobs, it is not saying, oh, from economics use this definition, from history use this understanding of some era, from science do this. We don't do that, right? When we are actually doing our jobs or learning, it is not something that I'll be breaking my mind into different silos. I'll be using all together. So why not we give this habit from students from day one, that yes, we are learning different in different subjects at different periods, but everything leads to a common thing, or everything is the same thing. We just have divided into silos. Now we talk about soil color. Some soil color is red, some soil color is black, some soil is rocky. There is a science behind it because there are certain chemicals present in the red soil and certain chemicals present in the black soil to make the color like that, right? There is science, and then there is proportion, the ratio and proportion of the kind of mineral present in the soil. Ratio proportion is mathematics, that it comes in geography and science both. I'll give you one more example. I love giving this example as the molecules. In molecule, the atoms are present in a particular ratio for that molecule to be. If I have H2O, it is in the ratio of 2 is to 1, H2O, right? If I said, no, in my molecule, I want the ratio 3 is to 1, H3O. H3O will be very unstable element. H2O2, one more oxygen molecule inside. It will become hydrogen peroxide. Very serious. You can't drink that, right? So there is natural integration in our environment. It's just that we have to break those silos. Yes, we are getting integration as it is very challenging for us. Yes, it is. It is. I won't say it is easy. It can happen in one day. It can't. It will take its own time, but you have to start somewhere, right? You can't say, oh, it will take time. We can't start. Let's start somewhere. Let's start while discussing. So all teachers, all subject teachers can actually sit together before the start of the year and plan where are the chapters where integration is possible, not forced, seamless. It may not be possible in every chapter. That's okay. But wherever it is possible, do that integration. So while the geography teacher is teaching that particular concept, then talk about, oh, in science, you would have learned this. Do you know this? Tell me how it works. Do this. Try doing that in the start of the year. So start, plan, and then during teaching, use that. Then the students will be able to connect it. They will take some time, but you have to continuously do that. Hammer them. It's not geography, science, friction is same in both. So yes, that is how we have to integrate. And the best part is languages integration is everywhere, right? In maths we have word problems. If I don't understand basic English of the terms like addition, remove, divide, cut in different parts, if I don't understand basic English meanings of sentences, I will not be able to solve a word problem, right? So language integration is everywhere. The skill of writing a report is everywhere. The skill of writing a précis is everywhere. Correct? So yes, integration is difficult, but it is not impossible. Cool. So we all have to try. We all have to work towards it. And I'm sure it will happen gradually. But like I said, don't fail. Don't accept that I failed, I can't do it, leave it. There will be failure. Accept the failure and move ahead. Right? Gunjan, you want to add to it?
Uh, I think you've succinctly explained everything. Now, what we can do is we can start collaborating, right? So we will take this case and maybe try and make a project plan together, right? So let us take the content area, social studies. You will tell me what other subjects you can integrate with this project, but let us read the basic description. For this project, students need to choose a social injustice topic where the five principles of social justice are not met. Students can work individually in small groups, write a small proposal for the topic, research indicating why it is a social justice issue. Then they can craft a driving question. They can perform active research, create a video or a project in the style of documentary to demonstrate their learning and their understanding of the local problem and how it also affects the broader audience and how we can take action. Resources, obviously, they can use whatever comes to their level. Now, I'll stop sharing right now
So
and we
just a
can
second,
have
Gunjan, wait. Keep this
Hmm.
on slide for some time. Let them read
Okay.
while we are also talking. So
Okay.
this is what we are going to do is we are going to do project-based learning online right now with you. Okay. So this is the description. This is a broad problem area that a teacher has given to you. So we are teachers right now, and these teachers have given you this project. Okay. What I want you to do is create a driving question on this description. Okay. Um, are you aware of five principles of social justice? Are you aware of five principles of social justice? If not, uh, I'll request Ethan to please put this in the chat. Five principles of social justice. Okay, and what you have to do here is you have to create a small proposal. You have to do research. Mm, you have to demonstrate their learning and understanding of local and broader audience, stating how we can take this action.
So basically, as a student, you need to prepare a project plan, quick plan. Obviously, we don't expect you to go into detail, but a quick plan of what you want to do, what is the driving question, what you want to do, and how will you do it.
Okay, we understand that you will take some time. Let's go slow. Let's create some driving questions. You can go through this. This is on the slide. We'll keep this on for some time. And can you think of a driving question here? So access, equity, human rights, diversity, participation. Yes, these are all five principles of social justice. Perfect. Now you have to create a project plan about why social justice is an issue.
So the strategy we want to use is brainstorm. Now brainstorm anything, what comes into your mind, what driving questions you would like to take.
Gunjan, can you think of some driving questions we can maybe help the participants?
So equity is one of the five principles of social justice.
Yeah.
So in my country, a lot of resources are not, or are not reaching the a certain section of society because of whatever infrastructural issues, lack of resources. So that is also, that can be a driving question, question for me is how I make maybe IT available to everybody, every student of this country, or every student in my locality, for example. How
Absolutely.
ensure that, yeah. So that
I was
is,
thinking about diversity also, because we in even in a small locality, if you see, there are different types of uh, community people that come together and learn in a single school, right? So how we can make sure that diverse people come together and learn without any trouble, or without any differentiation, rather creating an inclusive kind of a classroom. So my driving question is how I can create an inclusive classroom in my school, if that becomes a very specific question. Or inclusive, I can get into deeper about maybe from a common caste, or from a common community or common creed, how I can create maybe people from different community come together and learn, and there is no differentiation. I can everybody gets the same thing. How will I make sure this happens? Come on, teachers, thinking hat. Wear your thinking hats, wear your creative hats. What is the driving question in this case? I have participation, diversity, human rights, integrity, and yes. So these are 5 principles that we're talking about here. What will be your driving question? What from these principles, what drives you? Right? How does the community address social injustice to promote equality? Nice question, Maria. Nice driving question. Good. Anybody else can think of any question? Come on, teachers. Come on, educators. Think. We want our students to think in this direction. And as educators, we should be their role models. So let's think more questions. Maria, if you want, you can also list more questions. It's not limiting to one question. You can have multiple driving questions. How can we speak out against and educate others about social injustice? Good. So this is a good question in which we can work on maybe various mediums through which communication can happen. Good. Based on my experience, no more equality at all in this country. Okay, I don't think a very positive comment on this. Constitutional law versus rights. Okay, you want to work on the laws versus rights. Good, Jemisha, good. To what extent does power or the lack of power affect individuals? Wow, that's a nice question. Very nice question. Proper distribution of PD's system. How will you introduce a said equality in every individual? Very nice. How can you spread awareness of the social injustice present? Very nice questions. Very good questions.
how can you help
How can
learners who experience social injustice?
So maybe you want to modify it in such a way that how can you help people who experience social injustice? Maybe if you want to work for a community, you can make it learners to people. If you're doing for your school, then this question is okay. Okay,
And
so it depends
again,
on your
you
audience.
can, yeah, you can have to narrow it down more, which social injustice, what part of it, so that you can think of a solution. Yes, so how can we conserve renewable resources?
That is for the previous one, Martha.
Previous one, yeah.
How is participation important in public?
Yes, how we should make people vote, how should we make people aware of civic awareness? Very good question.
Yeah. How efficient are the government laws protecting social justice?
Superb.
Okay. I mean, here in Philippines, I have no more equality. Again, no comments here. We can't make political comments here, so sorry. We can't do it. Okay. How can you promote equality despite the diversity?
Wow.
Nice. You have to try eradicating it by making small attempts to promote equality. Now, Mario, you started working on the
Solution.
solution part. Okay, the solution is the third part. First, you have to understand the root cause, understand the problems faced by people, understand really the core of whether the problem exists and or the goal that we have, the topic that is there is a problem there. You have to rethink about reservation system which has introduced only for 10 years, but yes, Varik, I completely relate to that. Again, no political comments. I can't say anything. As a student, how can we promote equality in this modern world? Very nice question. Very nice, Kathleen.
So now
What
that you
structure?
have a driving question in your mind, now we actually will have to chalk out what will you do? What is the solution or what is the outcome you are thinking about? We'll think about the process for later, but what in real terms, what solutions you want to put ahead? So do you
Yes, so
want
here
to?
we expect you to create some outcomes. The one that we created earlier, if you see, um research, analyze, create. So the first step you did was create your driving question, but you need to create some objectives that you want from this. The problem statement that you have say. How can we help the silent victims shoot? Very nice. Shout for injustice. So now this is your driving question, right? Now try to create objectives. Yeah, if you see the project overview, I'm loving the questions, Gunjan. They're amazing. There's one more. How can the physically challenged youth participate in the campaign against child abuse in their locality?
Wow.
Very nice questions.
So we ask you to answer the questions which you have posted to yourself and think what you can do. So, for example, how will you help a physically challenged youth to participate in campaigns with child abuse? Can that child go to different places and do motivation talks and talk about his challenges and how they overcame their own challenges? So, your learning objective then would be, you would create videos and speeches on you know tackling child abuse. One, you second would be, you would create an anti-bullying squad. Again, I should not put thoughts into your mind, but just giving examples. So I would like now you to exactly use, everybody knows blooms, right? So those verbs, doable verbs. At the end of this project, I will create a video, doing the xyz. So again, we are still, lot of us, there, I agree, there is, a lag between the live stream, and so you're still giving me the questions, but now I would like you to give answers to your question.
So maybe you would want to break it into steps. So for example, you will like to take a survey, create a survey to interview. Maybe if you're talking about child abuse, maybe talk about family with families. We talk interview. We create an interview survey with families of child abuse. We interview children, and it has to be very empathetic. We can't have direct questions like how are you abused and what happened to you. So while so if this project is for the children, they have to be very vigilant on the kind of questions they are asking, the situation in which they are asking. They cannot be direct, they cannot be pointing out, they cannot be making them feel weird about it, right? So
So
all
Susan
that
here
kind of.
is yeah. Susan here is talking about creating an app and hotline for the physically challenged. So you're trying to create a counseling session or a counseling program for them. Yes, very good. That is the area we want to you to think in. Maria here says, how do the communities address social justice to promote equality? Her goal is to create An awareness campaign through infographics, info commercials, involve community through focus discussions. We are loving this, believe me. So,
Right. So we were actually thinking about having this kind of case study, but I think it works. It works for all of us beautifully. Correct. So now, so your step was to interview people to understand, to create structures. Now, based on the responses that you get from people, based on that, then you will create infographics. So creating infographic infomercial is the third step. First step is driving questions. Second step is actually talking, interviewing, survey, um, getting to know. Basically, the second stage is getting to know about the stakeholders, getting actual senses. Because see, whatever we are working on right now is on our perspective. It's my perspective. It's based on my knowledge. It's based on my understanding. But we also need to know the other side. We also need to know what others are thinking, especially the ones who are facing it. Right? So we need
so
to
in
know what the
research
others
terms, the tools you use to find information, to know
exactly.
more about the concept. So the tools.
The
So
tool. So it can be
surveys
a
and
simple interview, it can be a simple survey, maybe on a Menti or a Google form. Maybe you yourself want to interview based on 5 questions, and then remember we created a rubric for interview. So children will have a rubric of interview. What is my checklist and what are the parameters on which I will have to make sure I create my 4 5 questions. And then when I ask, I also ask some open-ended questions. I also ask follow-up questions. So suppose Gunjan says, I struggled to speak about my problem. Then my follow-up question can be that what what were the issues that you were facing, that you were struggling, why you were not able to open up. So that can be my follow-up question. That may not be a prepared question, but my follow-up question, right?
so
So that stage
Karzana
is
says
very
that,
important.
yeah, sorry. So
No, please go ahead.
Karzana says that they can use various social media platforms to learn. Yeah, you can use
That can be my
TikTok,
research
Vlog.
mode.
Again, that's one of your research point. Again, social media are not in very ideal place to learn. So a good that this has come up. Again, as a teacher, you might need to give them a checklist of where they can do research from. So you might tell them that Wikipedia is not a very good, resource, because anybody and everybody can come and uh, change it. They can modify it. So maybe you will have to give them a little bit of direction. Go, these are the books you can study. These are the uh, websites which you can go and research on. These, so little bit of ethical content development will come here. You might have to tell them that yes, you can research, but you will need to give them the right, again, my very close to my heart. That is why I see a smile in on Roshali's face. So yes, you will have to tell them that they have to give due credit.
Absolutely. And always make sure that you use a primary source. When I say primary source, which means that if something is worked by Vrushali, and if Vrushali has written a research paper on it, then try to use a research paper by Vrushali, and then maybe some other resources that Vrushali has referred to. If Vrushali is authentic, right? Pages like Wikipedia or some other pages, I don't want to name them, those are all research and perception based. They might not be completely wrong, but it is always better to use resources which are primary source. Okay. Social media can be a place where you just go through, but it is not. It is, again, social media is all perception, my understanding, my emotion, my feeling. It is not something that can be used as a direct reference for any kind of research. It can be a place where people come and express themselves about your work. Yes. People come and share their stories. Perfect. Social media is perfect for that. But it is not the ready reference that you take for any project. Okay. Right. Yeah, you can use social media for creating awareness. You have done some research and you want to share with people, or you want that to have a common platform where everybody comes and shares their stories, share their incidences, and it can be a secured environment where it is not open for public but a private access. to maybe whatever people of your community, perfect, can be done. Perfect.
So
Right?
focus for if student as they want to go and do a focus interview, maybe social media is a very good option, you know. So because then it is recorded and then students can go again and again and see it.
Right. So,
We'll go to the third step for Shali.
yes, please.
So first step was actually defining a problem. The second step was how will you do it? How will you research? What are the tools we are going to use? And finally, we lot of people have given the third step as first and second. So the first step would be, the third step would be, you know, um, the final outcomes. What finally you would want to do. I'm going in the right direction, Rushali?
Yeah, 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 absolutely.
Yeah. So finally, for example, some people said I'll make a social media campaign, or we will make a video, or we will make actually some, a hotline. So, that is required. So that can be one outcome. So, I let me just go through some comments. Yeah, so there was a comment on, the goal is the to create campaign awareness through infographics, infomercials, and through a community focused discussion. Yeah, that is the third step. So that is we are actually implementing what you have learned, right?
Awesome.
Shall
Okay,
you
just
want?
imagine that we are, yeah, just imagine that we are a small community right now. We can't even interact, we can't talk to each other, but we are interacting on chats. But still, we are able to exchange ideas, exchange thoughts, exchange um, beautiful stories and research that we have here. Imagine when students are actually doing with people whom they are talking with, right? Imagine this you're doing in your classroom with 20, 30 students. There is a group of 6, 7 students working together. They're collaborating, they're sharing their ideas, they're asking you, they're asking other mentors. Imagine the amount of um, interesting conversations and interesting learning that can happen using project based learning.
So again, I'm sure you must have noticed that some we are on step one, step two, step three. Some people are still thinking of what the driving questions can be, or they in the middle of the person. "Oh, no, I this is not my driving question. I feel more passionately about some other uh, social impact, right? So there again, you have to give a freedom to students to fail. Yes, I want to recreate my path. What we were talking about failure and feedback was that. So acceptance of your, now I want to take another path is also okay. So this is the fifth step where you evaluate and reevaluate, right? Of what you are. So another milestone is, if you want to call it milestone, then what we have done till now and how do I go ahead. So I have made a infographic, I have made this, but now I feel I want to add something more, or maybe I want to completely change my course of line, as a student. Again, you have to give them that freedom that they can do it. Obviously timelines are important. You have to tell them that since you know the journey, you can do the same journey again very fast. But again, process is more important than product here. So in between the steps, always remember to do re-evaluation and evaluation. Rushali, if you're speaking, I can't hear you.
No, no, I'm not.
Okay. So we have the third step, and the fourth step would be now you have created, you want to present it, right? You might want to present it first to your team and your teacher, and then if it is a school, it's a community thing, to then to that community or the school, right? Now let us think what ways you can present your product or products or your project. So some ideas on how would you like to present your driving question, which you have taken. For example, just for hypothetically, you finished the project, your product is ready. How would you like to present it? So it can be in forms of, form of a
So a lot
video.
of people would have already answered. They will put it on
Yes.
social media page. They'll put it as infographics. So
There
since
was
you're
a
already
hotline.
hotline, exactly. So all
So
this
again,
becomes a result of the research that you do. Yeah,
yeah.
go ahead.
So again, once you've made a hotline, because making a hotline is not very easy, So you have a community of people who are answering. So you have to find out people who are capable for managing the hotline. They have to be psychologist or psychoanalyst. How will you, if the hotline is created, how are you going to, keep it, working? So this is, uh, all that is very important, and that is why feedback reflection is very, very important. Yes, so somebody has asked me, is that applicable for one project for one semester? Yes, it is very much applicable. No issues. We have taken a very broad topic. It's not necessary you take such a broad topic. If, for example, if the result is making a hotline, then it's obviously not one semester, it is 2 4 8 semesters. Because again, creating a hotline or creating a community where people can come and talk very freely is not very easy. You have to have, experts there, you need phones, this that. So obviously it's a very big project, but for a teacher, you can obviously take a smaller project. Or, in a school, usually now I think in India it is mandatory to have a resource room or a special room where students can go, so maybe how you can, as a school, the same project can be used as how you can empower your your resource room or your special, needs room, and generally make it inviting, and not, generally when it started, people would be branded that you're a resource room child, right? How to remove those brands, how do you remove that, that anybody is invited in this room, you're not being judged. So on a smaller level you can do that. So Rojlin here says, how will we introduce the said equality in every individual? The answer is we have to give equal opportunity to every individual and show their talent and expertise, and it need not be only physical. Yeah, so right. So again, in project-based learning, you will have to think of a driving question, how you will do it, and the answer is not so important. You might reach one point, half of it, it's okay. The process and the learning is important.
Okay, I
Rushali, you
think
want to take it ahead?
yeah. So I think let's go ahead. So yes, this was just a small, what can I say, a lightning project-based learning that we did with you. The journey is, of course, if you do it with your students, it is really, really long. Not really long. It is timed, and maybe 3 weeks, 4 weeks, however you want to do, or one semester, like we discussed. You can keep it that way. Everything has a timeline. So maybe the first stage will have, say, 2 weeks. The second phase of analysis will have, say, 1 week. Presentation, you get so many days. So this is something that the schedule in the teacher's journey, you will have to create that schedule. What we have put here are some more examples. Now, this project, so these are all examples. This we are not going to discuss with you. Maybe you want to take these projects with your students, or you want to take any other project. We are open to that as well, right? This is one example where there is an imaginary client, okay, and students are contractors. So in the first one that we saw, the students were young scientists, right? The second, the one with social thing, we saw that the students are social reformers, if I can call it that way. In this project, they are contractors, okay, and client has a lot of demands on the rooms and the area, the square feet and everything, and there is a constraint on the floor plan, distance to work, and a lot of constraints are there. students have to design a custom for floor plan for that client, which is very unique. Okay, and they have to take care of the location, the cost. They have to apply a lot of knowledge on the area and parameter. So it's maths, art, social studies, technology, all that they are going to learn using this project. Okay, that is all integration. So if in maths they are learning the topic on area, perimeter, shapes, and so on, here that they are going to apply in this project, integrating other parameters as well. This can be for grade 5, 6. This is one project that you can work on with your students. The second is on childhood obesity. I think we already discussed in detail about this in the example one. You have to create graphs, apply what are the eating patterns because of obesity. What happens to the heart rate? Maybe in physical education class, what happens to students who are obese and who are not? Physical. What are the physical activity habits? So you want to survey for those who have weight plus. So for example, there is a age and weight ratio. So if somebody is above that ratio, then what is the physical activity that that person does, and so on. So that can be my research parameter here. This is my favorite. If you all know, there is a show called Shark Tank where people come and present their ideas. They have to pitch their ideas and make people understand their product, and people can invest in that. Okay, now this can be for grade 6 to 12. It is also entrepreneurship. They are creating a product. They are creating an idea of service, and then they present it in front of maybe the school coordinators, or maybe some people who are interested in student business, and they have to pitch their idea and how this works for them and how this makes it beneficial, and what is the profit that they can make, and what is the scale that they can go to. Maybe they can go to school, they can go to different communities. So all that is a part of this project that they can do. We gave you some ideas. We gave you some ideas on what are the ideas of project based. Now, do you have any ideas about what kind of projects that you can do? We gave you very broad topics. Can you think of any projects that can be taken? You can think about it. So there's a question in the meanwhile. How can we use it in one semester? See, like I said, you already know the entire syllabus that you're going to cover, right? Once you have an entire idea of whatever the syllabus, you can map where there are common themes across subjects. This has to be done before the start of the year. And once you have those ideas mapped, you can decide this is where we can do a common project across the subjects. Okay, I hope this discussion, this explanation helps. And in the meanwhile, if you have any example of if you have any ideas of project-based learning, we
So
can
a
take
lot
up
of
that
you are
as well.
there who must have done some project-based learning earlier. We would love to know what you have done in your schools and how you have done it. Again, project-based learning works very well with STEAM also. A lot of schools who are doing STEAM are using STEAM as a project, using project-based learning strategy for doing STEAM.
So any projects you can think of, maybe integrating. So like we went across in social studies, we went across in taking science as the base, but integrating different subjects. Any other project that you can think of? Think about it. Program with students and their family and friends to see the pre-BL output of school-wide PBL Expo at the end. Wow, Dina,
Wow.
that's really a great idea. PBL Expo is a brilliant idea. Students can present their output and authentic audience would be really great. Yeah, and parents feel really proud of when the students feel so happy about it when other parents come and see and appreciate their effort. Again, appreciating the effort and the outcome. It's not that, oh, nice presentation, but they really appreciate the process that a child has followed, right? Because child will be presenting their research, the areas, the conversation. Yes, math, technology, and PE. Brilliant.
Brilliant.
Action research is a part of PBL, Ridwan. If I can say it, so if we go to the earlier slide where we have mentioned the project based learning is so driving question, so igniting curiosity, driving question, and the next part, the second stage is active research or action research. So completely action researched is a part here. In the student journey, we'll have, right? So active research or action research is a part of project-based learning, of course. Learning recovery project plan for learning loss in mathematics. This is so cool. Learning
Great.
loss research.
And so real in today's day of time with, we've just recovered from COVID, and for 2 years students were not with us, so
And you involve
relevant.
students in the process. So the best part will if you involve students,
Yeah.
so there is also some amount of cross-age peer mentoring that can get involved, or peer mentoring that can get involved. Somebody who know about it and somebody there is a learning loss in that student can become a mentor. So student A can become mentor or student B, and there will be lovely collaboration happening together.
So we have Maria here saying that they're developing a school project to build an edible garden. Amazing.
This is so cool, right?
This is so cool.
Yeah.
So you have biology happening there, you have agri science happening there, you have the maths happening there, and so and
Geography, the
so much
seasons, the
geography,
soil,
yeah.
all that is happening. Very nice. Very
Plus,
nice.
if you ask them to create a video and then write a report of it, your English is also, languages is taken care of. Amazing project. Thank you, Maria.
So I'm sure you other educators are also getting ideas from this that how you can have simple project but it integrates with other subjects so beautifully because it connects with real life, and education is all about connecting knowledge with real life, right, and applying it in our daily schedule. So yeah, you want to go on the next slide, Gunjan?
I need to present again. Just a
Yes.
second. Yeah, I will need to go at the head.
Okay, so let's think about it. Can project based learning be individual project?
Remember
No.
our scenarios in the beginning.
Yes.
The two scenarios we spoke about.
So just to revise and then we go back to scenarios. Is it given to as an individual project? No, it can't be. Is it only for high scorers? Not at all. It is for everybody and anybody in the group. Everybody will be participating and learning from each other, collaborating towards the progress of the project towards the goal. So it is not only for high achievers, it's for everybody. Is it hard to manage with limited time? Yes, it can be sometimes hard to manage. But as a teacher, that's your role to guide the students and make them go fast where required and maybe take some time
Again, the
towards
key is
the.
planning. If you're
Yeah,
planned well, it is not hard to manage.
correct. And can it be only mapped to syllabus? It is mapped to syllabus, yes, but it goes much beyond the syllabus. It goes much beyond the constraints of the syllabus. It is much because the learning is going to be real and digging deeper, right? So before this, can we stop this, Kunjan?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay, before you get into this Menti link, okay, remember the scenarios that we did in the start. So for those who join later, I'll just repeat the scenario. Uh, so this is the scenario that we started the session with, and we asked whether this is project based or it is not project based, right? Um, my project, the one that I described, my project had a professor. The topic was nutrition. My topic and my professor divided them into different groups, gave them a structure of research, questions, goals, involved the maths teacher, science teacher, and also give access to local doctors of the community so that students can interview them and create a report on balanced diet. And this was across a period, and where yeah, the students were doing their active research and writing report and interacting with people. So all that was happening in the project that I shared, right? Gunjan, your story.
Yeah, so my professor or teacher planned the project for 6 months, gave a due date, and gave individual instructions to students. So everybody got an email that you have to do this project. It was detailed report. There should be an introduction. You should do research. Then you should have an action plan, a conclusion, and a bibliography. And gave a due date, and where everybody submitted at the end of the 6 months. Uh, Between that, there was no interaction. It was just this. This happened, and finally, people submitted their project. So now tell me, was which
Which
one
was project based? You
project
can put
based?
it in the chat. Gunjan or Vrushali?
Yeah.
Now you know exactly what is project based. We hope that you know that project based, the definition, the examples, the theory, the journey, everything. Now you tell us, is Rushali's case project based or Gunjan's one is project based?
So I think the verdict is unanimous. It's Rushali.
Yes, it is. It is the first one, or it is the one that I said. Can you say the gaps? Why
That is more
Gunjan's one is not
important.
project based? That is more important because we understood. Okay, we get it. Thank you so much. Uh, what was the gap? Why Gunjan's scenario or project was not project based learning? Think about it. For those who are typing now, you can type why Gunjan's case was not project based learning. Why? Why this was not project based? What made this not a project? No collaboration in Gunjan's learning. Yes. What
True.
else? Very nice. What else? Think. Multiple things apart from collaboration. What else is happening? Maybe students collaborated together offline. That is a possibility, right? But what made it very distinct that this is not project based learning? This is just an activity given to them.
Yeah.
Individually, the scaffolding is also not continuous. Absolutely,
Perfect.
exactly. Teacher gave the project in the start. This is your project. This is the details. This is when you have to submit, and it is done. There is no scaffolding. There is no continuous interaction. There is no um, process, or maybe there's no intervention of a teacher. And this is just a project given to them. I mean, it can be some parents are working for the students. Parents create the project and give it to the students and say, okay, submit. There is no authenticity here. Remember, there's a big authentic circle in the center. That's not there. Now, Gunjan, you want to add?
Yeah. So again, it is for misnomer. You feel 6 months I have given, so it's a long project, so it's a project based learning. No, just because 6 months you have given, not necessarily students have actually worked consistently for 6 months. Mostly, if you give these projects, student will work 2 days before the project and finish and give it to you.
We all have done
Okay,
that.
so, yeah, we have all done that as students. So yeah, so there's no scaffolding, there's no active research, there is no feedback mechanism, there is no evaluation mechanism. Teacher support is not there. Only instructions and maybe a very good structure, beautiful structure is there, of what I expect, but there's no support and no collaboration.
And there's no reflection also, right? In
There's
between,
no
there's no
reflection.
reflection happening. So yeah, this is exactly perfect. So you got the features of project based, and now you know what is an activity and what is a project based learning. So that is a nice, very nice outcome that we see here. So
So
now I request you to put the second link.
there is a QR code also which you can share.
You can either scan this QR code or use the link given in the chat. What do we think about project based learning?
So I'll unshare now. Roshali, if you want, then you can maybe after some time share what people are writing.
Yes, yes, sure. I've already got responses. We are getting beautiful word cloud here. So, but I'll wait for 10 more seconds. Let participants answer and then let's present it.
Meanwhile, Richelle says that as scaffolding consists of lessons, workshops, activities, and resources, it helps students master the content and skills needed for to complete a project-based learning. Beautiful answer. Thank you.
Okay. What I'll do is I'll present my word cloud. It's very interesting, so I want to just showcase it. A second. So beautiful responses. We need
Uh,
more responses. Okay, we have a lot of people attending, so only this much responses will not work, but I need more. But yes, enhanced critical thinking, scaffolding, collaboration, skill, authentic. Very nice. I like that word is there on screen. Challenging, product. Product, I would recommend process. Product can or cannot be, might not be necessary. Collaborative learning a lot. Okay, I cannot read what does SV, ZHS, random letters here. Learning outcome, great method, authentic assessments, yes. Skills, very nice. And this is just getting bigger and bigger, so I love it. Interactive, structured process, open-minded, student-centered, guided by facilitator, teachers as facilitator. Okay, now this, I'll stop sharing because this is just changing continuously. So So, Rita, you're asking suggestions what we can do PBL and languages. Like I said, let's not uh, get into only languages or science or history. Let's not get into those silos. Any project can, languages are part of expression. Language is the way a person expresses, right? So, any project can become a language, can be integrated in that project because there is expression, the way the students write, the way the students talk, the way the students communicate. So language become part of the process, entirely the process, right? So if you want to focus on some specific skills like maybe report writing or maybe letter writing or maybe paragraph writing or maybe speaking in a way like essay or elocution or oral recitation, that can be part of the project submissions that they have to do, right? So for languages, or maybe you want to take you want to integrate with social studies and maybe take a life journey of a king or maybe some history era you want to talk about and then integrate language in that, right?
Yeah. So even asking students to prepare a drama can be a project. It can be a long project, because they are scripting, they are making dialogues, they are preparing the costumes and
Characters and
everything.
costumes, yeah.
It can be a long project, and then and you can then integrated with so many other things.
In fact,
Um,
if they're doing any project on social injustice, for example, the one of the outcomes can be a play.
True.
It can be a street play, or it can be some role play that they do to explain that social injustice is not right. Correct. So that outcome can be a play, it can be a social topic that they are taking. So language can be integrated very seamlessly in any project, right?
Yasmin here asks, can you do a Mentimeter for visual arts? You can do Mentimeter for anything on the earth, actually. Huh? So, yes, you can do a Mentimeter for visual arts PBL also. So, where you can ask, maybe, if you have a community of visual arts teachers, create a Mentimeter. What project based learning projects can we do to teach visual arts? So that is also one option. Mentimeter is a tool which can be used for many. It can be used at the beginning of the session as we used, as an icebreaker. It can be used to summarize a session. It can be used in between to take opinions. It is a very versatile tool. Yes,
It's a tool. Now it depends on
it's
you
a
how you
tool.
use it
Yeah.
creatively. So it's okay. Like we use Mentimeter for poll also, and we use for word cloud also.
So for visual arts, project-based learning works very, very well. Earlier I used to teach in an institute which taught jewelry to students. So the whole curriculum was based on projects and long projects where they used different. It was not subject silo again. They used to all the subjects would be bring together to create a product, right? And a range of products. So, for example, if you're teaching, visual arts, you ask a child to create a painting, plus an artifact, plus maybe a drama. So visual arts has so many, and you can actually integrate every subject on the earth in visual arts.
Perfect. So with this, we come to an end of our session. The word cloud is becoming bigger and bigger. I can share my screen the last time to show the word cloud before
Yeah.
you can actually continue adding it there. Master the skills, group based project. Some are in yellow, so you won't be able to read on screen, but we'll add this in the course as well, so that you are able to see the words, and maybe you want to add more, you can in the project based 101 course that we'll be announcing about it in a short while. So yes, with this we come to an end of our session. And I would really like to take this opportunity to thank Acad Asia for making this happen, making this possible, and we are so happy to be here. Thank you so much, dear participants, because you were so engaging, so interactive. This made the session possible. Otherwise, it would have been really dry. So, thank you so
Thank
much.
you.
Thank you from the bottom of our hearts. And
Thank you,
I would like
Cadisha
to add
team
Roy.
and all the participants. Your answers was wonderful, and we really are touched with the kind of interaction we had today.
Thank you so much, Gunjan, Vishali. Yeah, that was a really interesting session. And thank you so much to all our educators and participants from all over, especially the Philippines and other countries. Fantastic engagements. We just have a few housekeeping reminders just so that we can tell you how you can also, let's say, review again the session today and rewatch the session. And of course, how you can earn your certificates. Just quick note though, I noticed in your word cloud, Vishali, that there were some Filipino terms there, and it's
Oh,
okay. Uh, some of them were still a bit confused or did not understand some of all the
okay.
concepts, but that's all right. That's why we have the course that accompanies the session so that they can review again, okay? So that you can
Right.
understand. And of course, all the materials that you presented here will be included in the course. So I'll share my screen just to place or show our audience how they can actually access the course. So if you have not created your Acad Asia account yet, or if you have, make sure you sign up at www.acadasia.com. You can sign in, or if you're creating your account for the first time, make sure that you sign up as a teacher account. Okay, so even if, let's say, you're a pre-service or still earning your bachelor's or master's degree to become a teacher, or if you're already a practicing teacher, that's all right. If you're in between schools, that's okay. Make sure you sign up as a teacher. Do not sign up as the other two. And once you're in, you will log in. There's several services that you can avail of. So obviously, one is Colab Ed. So here, I think we see Diego Malones. I'll just like his post. So here, he attended the PBL session this morning. Thank you, Diego. And here, teachers from all over the world can interact with each other in communities or in the chat thread and the message boards. And we can discuss on share ideas and find partners and groups to build our community of practice together. Okay. And then if you are attending this course, go to SkillEd. So if you click here, you go to our list of courses. All right. So we have a lot of continuing professional development courses available on the site, and you will see our intermediate level session today with Vishali and Kunjab, project-based learning 101. Okay, so we already have a few enrollees. Make sure you enroll in the course. So if I open up the course here, I'll view it. It looks something like this, and then make sure you enroll in the course, and then you will have all the sections here that you will have to complete. So make sure that here you can navigate the course, complete all the sessions. The reference materials and presentations are all here, so you can review again. And then once you complete the entire course, then your certificate, which is digitally secured and verifiable on the blockchain technology that is brought to you by AcadAsia. So you will have a secure tamper-proof certificate sent to your email account. Okay, so after you complete this course, you will have a digitally secure document powered by the blockchain that will be your certificate of completion for the course that we have today. So don't forget, okay, to make sure to sign up and complete this course, Project-Based Learning 101. If you had a bit of a, if you found it a bit too fast, just make sure that you can review and look back again and then complete all the assessments there, and you will earn your course certificate. All right. So any final words, final thoughts, Gunjan and Rushali, in our session today? I'd like to
Thank
invite
you,
you
Roy,
to
so
final
much.
thoughts.
So
Yeah.
there is a discussion section in the course. If you have more
Yes.
questions, you can always ask us. We will go ahead and reply to our best of efforts.
And also, if you have brilliant ideas, please share it because it's a community. So let's exchange brilliant, like we did here, right? Some brilliant ideas, and I'm sure it's a takeaway for all of us. Some ideas we'll share with other teachers also that they can start using that. So always use this course discussion as a place where you can share your thoughts, exchange beautiful ideas, and let's collaborate. Let's collaborate and make project-based learning as a part of the daily routine, right? Let's discuss. Let's make our life as a project and with beautiful discussions and stories. So yes, Roy is already sharing the screen to how to share your thoughts. You can also attach files, so you can actually, if you have done something, you can click a picture and share it with us. It'll be beautiful to see a picture. Roy, they can attach pictures, right?
Yes, you can attach documents, you can attach links, resources you
Okay.
want to share. It's a free flowing discussion. If you have any questions, of course, for Gujab and Vishali, they'll be happy to answer those in the chat as well as with our other Acad Asia members and community participants.
Awesome. Perfect. Thank you so much.
Thank you so
And
much.
always keep learning, keep discovering new things and enjoy. Thank you. Have a great
Thank
weekend.
you. This is
Thank
a
you.
fantastic Saturday school. I think it's time well spent. We learned so much. On behalf of Acad Asia, thank you very much, Orange Slates, Gunjan, and Vishali for being our resource panelists today. And don't forget, this coming Wednesday, we'll have another webinar Wednesday upcoming. So watch out for those announcements. Right here, you can uh, look at our chat posts. So we have webinar Wednesday next week, and the topics that we'll be discussing then. Again, it's full of interesting interactions and discussions. Um, so for this session, actually, uh, we'll be having a lot in store for you for this session today, next week. Okay, so don't forget to sign up for webinar Wednesday on the next session. All right.
Thank
Okay,
you.
so with that, on behalf of Acadesia, this is us signing off for Saturday School. See you at our next session. Thank you so much, everybody.
Thank
Goodbye.
you. Thank
Take
you.
care.
Take care. Bye bye.
Bye.
Bye.